everybody, and welcome back to Little House of the Dragon, a House of the Dragon rewatch podcast, which is also a sister podcast of Puttin on Airs. Puttin on Airs, the podcast where two hillbilly dum-dums, i.e. me and Trey Crowder, talk about fancy things every week. It drops on Friday. This podcast, Little House of the Dragon, ostensibly, to borrow a word from Lord Trey Crowder, ostensibly drops on Sunday. This week, we failed you, and I apologize for that. Now, I could give you every excuse under the book, and I'm about to.
Yeah, we're more like the stepsister podcast.
yeah, that's right. I won't even say, stepsister and like, stepsister who was only a stepsister and like they got divorced within a couple months. Like didn't even form a bond.
Or related, or daughter's parents grow up together.
Or probably that. Like we're like that's my cousin.
Yeah,
sure.
That's my cousin then.
That's my cousin then. That's my cousin then for sure. But the reality is I'll start saying some stuff, and if you go, "Oh no, I don't want that in there," obviously you can cut it out. But number one, when we first started doing this podcast, 15 years ago when season 1 came out?
About 9, 10.
10, yeah. About 10 or something like that. It was a very different world for both of us. I didn't even have not only did I not have Bane, me and Amber weren't even thinking about having Bane. Like, it wasn't even like, I didn't even know I was going to be a dad.
Was like in preschool.
Right.
And
completely different world. Like Laura
basically,
James,
like all the babies in my life weren't there yet. That
right.
It was a different time.
It was a way different time. And like on that note, Laura James was in bed at like 7. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, well, we always did it in the afternoon when I dropped her off at school. Remember?
That's very
she
accurate.
never went to bed at 7. But no, I would drop her off at preschool, and I would drop her off at like 7:45. I'd go through and get a coffee or whatever, and we would record.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times it's been actually easy to podcast with Laura James, and we thought, oh God, we finally figured out this is okay. Like, because normally with kids, it's very difficult to podcast when they're in the room, but Laura James is getting older and she can entertain herself. So we were like, wow, now that we figured out we can do this, it's whatever. Well, today she just was not having a good...
She has an eye infection right now.
She does.
She has chronic eye infections.
She does. And chronic eye infections, much like living in the South, are like tornadoes. You don't get warnings. They just kind of happen.
Open her eyes. So literally, like, she's just like blind for a couple days. We call it her Ray Charles disease, even though it's,
No, it's fine.
I was about to say, who gonna cancel me?
It's fine. It's fine. Dude, I don't, especially because Ray Charles is already dead, but
he also was a huge a-hole too, supposedly.
Yeah, now granted.
Oh, no. Was that Stevie Wonder?
No. No, you're just racist now. You've dug yourself a deeper hole.
The only blind musicians I know are 2 blind black guys.
Doc Watson erasure. Doc Watson erasure.
I'm sorry, Andrea Bocelli. I did not mean that.
Doc Watson erasure.
I don't know who that is.
Doc Watson, one of the greatest bluegrass guitarists to ever live. You've never heard Dad tell the Doc Watson story?
I probably did hear it 7 times, and I literally have blocked it out, and it's now in my like repressed memories from trauma.
Doc Watson, blind bluegrass guy, Dad and Uncle Danny went to see him, and this was when he was getting up in years. He's long since passed. I don't know how long since passed, but he was getting up in years, and he was playing it a little. And like Doc Watson is the man in bluegrass, but like that doesn't mean he's playing these huge festivals or whatever. So he was playing a festival, and like Dad and Danny were just walking around, and they just see this guy kind of like meandering between vans, and they realize like, that's fucking Doc Watson, And so they go up and they're like, Mr. Watson, are you okay? And he had just kind of like gotten lost, and they walked him back to his van, and like he played him some music or whatever. And it's like,
what a vibe.
It was real big vibe. But anyways, no, first off, Stevie Wonder jokes are still very much fine and okay. And yeah, Ray Charles is long since dead. And as you mentioned, he was a huge a-hole. However, it's not like everybody in the blind community is an a-hole.
No, well, and speaking of just like celebrities in the wild that like do something cool like that, what was the woman's name that was the main girl in the original Cats? Bonnie,
Ooh, you're out triviaing me. I don't know.
But you know which one I'm talking about. You know, the touch me. It's so easy to leave, that part.
I know the song.
I saw this thing, like it was a thing on Reddit, like what's like a random celebrity sighting, whatever. And this was like a theater kid, so it couldn't have happened to anyone better, is in New York, sees her, and it's basically like on a street corner, and he starts like singing the song out loud. Not only does she finish the song with him, like the verse or whatever, she puts her arm in his, walks 3 blocks with him, and just starts telling him about stuff about the musical.
Oh, can you imagine?
And also, I'm just like, how... he went back to his geek universe, Reddit, and was like, listen to what happened to me. And all these other theater kids were like, bet. There's no, that's too perfect.
Imagine me and you and Laura James are walking down Fifth Avenue and we see Meryl Streep.
Yeah.
And Laura James starts singing an ABBA song, and Meryl Streep sings it with her, and then hangs out with us the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And just does Mamma Mia for Laura James.
Yeah, that would be insane.
Kill us all that day, you know? That reminds me, we're way in the weeds right now, but for the record, this all...
Betty Buckley.
Betty Buckley, sure. This all goes back and ties into what I wanted to say earlier, which is that because we weren't able to get that episode out, we also have an instant reaction that I wasn't able to edit because we went so late and I went to the lake. I told Kirby, I was like, we've got to give them both episodes at once, and we've also got to make it a super episode. We got to make it really good because Kirby, you know, and this is not her fault. She doesn't come from the world of podcasting, but she was like, oh, we got to do both of them. But do you think we should just do abbreviated episodes to fit them all into one? And I was like, no. In my opinion, this is the apology episode. So it's got to be. No, I know you weren't, but like your head was in the right place because in your mind, you're like, well, the episodes are an hour, so we've got to make it an hour. But to me, it's like, hey, they can listen to it in 2 sittings. We deserve to give them the full thing and then more. Actually, they're getting 3 episodes because it's the instant reaction. And now the apology episode, which is what's going on right now. But that reminds me of when you were... It's fine.
I've done that 5 times.
It's okay. You're an octopus. You and Amber are both octopuses.
Yeah, we talk with our hands.
You're not... Well, I talk with my hands too. I'm just aware.
I talk with my tentacles.
I talk with my hands too. I'm just aware of my surroundings. You and Amber are not.
Oh yeah.
You were in New York for some reason with the church. I assume to go up there and tell all the gays and the lesbians to change their ways.
There was just who was the big Christian preacher that everyone loved.
Anyways, I'm sure I'm butchering a little bit of this, but it doesn't matter. Y'all are walking around and maybe you walk into the entrance of a hotel and you saw, aging ourselves here a little bit, you saw Johnny Resnick.
No, the airport in New York.
The airport in New York. What, LaGuardia or JFK? You don't remember. It was probably LaGuardia if it was Johnny Resnick. That's the best one, I assume.
I guess, but I mean, he was not in any Delta suite or anything. He was in regular, like...
But that doesn't matter. I'm just saying, like, yeah, LaGuardia is just, to me, LaGuardia is the better of the New York airports.
I have no idea, but would the church have gotten I feel like they would have got like a discount rate. Like
you can still get discounts at LaGuardia. It's just like LaGuardia is more international, I think. I could be showing myself right now. Anyways, Johnny Resnick was there.
Actually, you know what? Was it that? Or was it the one did we land in Jersey technically?
You might have.
I think we might have.
You might have. That would make, what the ever? It doesn't make sense.
I don't know, but
I'm the one that did this.
But I did see him.
Kirby saw Johnny Resnick, and her first instinct, and by the way, you were in 5th grade?
No, I was going into, I think, like my freshman year of high school.
Okay, either way, it makes sense.
I knew music.
Either way, compliment. Like, it would have been more impressive if you had been in 5th grade, for the record.
But it would have been so much more not realistic, and people would be like, yeah, okay.
In my mind, you were in 5th grade, and I believe it because I know who you are as a person.
Mentally, I am in 5th grade, so.
As always.
Yes.
And didn't you just run up to him and just grab his face?
No.
Wait. Did I just make that story up?
I've never grabbed anyone's face.
What did you do then?
I just was like, hey, I think that's Johnny Resnick.
That's it? That's the whole story?
Yeah, it was just cool that I saw him.
In my brain.
Well, someone also saw Avril Lavigne when we were by the 9/11 memorial. Someone saw. Well, what part of town is that? It's not
Midtown
like
Manhattan.
I mean, I don't know. Like, there's just like a part of like whatever neighborhood that's called over there, like where the Trade Center is and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I can't remember what it's not Lower Manhattan or maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, someone saw Avril Lavigne in that like area. I mean, she wasn't like at the memorial. I mean, she might have been.
Well,
she might have just left it.
Well, okay, that's.
But no one.
People see famous people. Why do I think that?
Because you just assume I did something stupid.
No, like I have a distinct memory of like that story being told. And
we saw Alan Jackson on the lake.
Yeah, I see famous people all the time. Even before I was in the world, but even before I was in the world, like literal first week I was in New York, I saw Jennifer Lawrence on the Upper West Side jogging, like just on a corner. Also, the first time I realized, like it hit me like, wow, you think people are pretty on screen? Mm-hmm. Wait till they're surrounded by normal people. Mm-hmm. Because like I saw her and I was like, well, I get it.
And
like,
all their heads are big too.
Yeah,
That's one thing I realized I really couldn't be on TV because I don't know if I've got a small head and broad shoulders or if I have a regular size head. Like, are my shoulders broad or is my head just small?
You eat cornbread.
I really felt like that was more of a bone structure. They're broad when I'm skinny too, but thanks.
This cornbread.
Yeah.
It's just you get them. Well, I just fucked that whole segment up because for some reason, Kirby, I've told so many people that story of you grabbing Johnny Resnick's face and just being like, but also when I told the story, you were in 5th grade and it was really cute.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, by all means, cut all this shit out and continue.
I don't know if I need to cut it out. I think people need to know how stupid I am. But who told me that story? I just make it up in my head. And why? It has nothing to do with me.
I don't know.
Like, it's one thing to lie and make a story cooler for yourself.
Well, sometimes I think, like, you tell a joke, and then it's like in your mind, you forget it's a joke, and you think it's reality. Kind of like how Dad would do about, remember when he would say that I would date BD, think about.
Yeah. He
would say, well, Kirby dated so, and I'm like,
as a joke.
I know, but I'm like, well, Dad, no, I didn't. And he's like, oh, yeah, and I'm like, no, I really didn't though. And now I think Dad actually thinks he remembers that I did that, and I never did.
You're so right. At the time, I guarantee, because you were in high school and I would have been like a senior, I probably was like, oh, I bet you ran up to him and grabbed his face like an idiot. And I just said that a bunch.
And I
created a universe and I created a false memory. And then as time went on, I became less cynical, and that became a thing that I thought was cool.
Yeah.
And thus it was a sweet memory I had of my sister.
Yeah, this is some total butterfly effect kind of stuff happening right now.
No, I'm glad this has happened because like, that's weird because it probably was born out of me making fun of you. But as time passed and I became a different person than I am then, it became a sweet memory I have of my sister. That's odd.
Another sweet memory is when I punched him in the face at Jimmy Buffett that time.
Broke my nose at a Jimmy Buffett concert. By the way, can I tell you this?
R.I.P.
R.I.P. But also, for the first time in history, she did something to me that I, say it with me, did not deserve.
No, and also, I mean, obviously you're the true victim. I'm a victim in that situation too, though.
You were lied to.
Yeah, I was lied to, and I was only doing what, like, if it was true, what was actually said, like, I wouldn't have done anything wrong.
Well, no. Yes, you would have, because the first thing you need to do is talk to your brother before resorting to physical violence. Okay,
That's why alcohol's a toxin.
It is. Let's tell that story real quick, and then I'm going to move on with my apology, and then we'll get on with the episode.
We talked about it before in an episode.
That doesn't matter. You can't. Podcasting rule number 1. You
don't assume people listen.
Don't assume people listen. And also think about how long ago that was. If me and you talked about it, that meant it was on an episode of House of the Dragon. That could have been 10 years ago. And also,
it was. I mean, was it pre-COVID?
Yeah. Also, we have new listeners. I'll do the fast version. We were at a Jimmy Buffett concert. Also at the Jimmy Buffett concert was one of my ex-girlfriends who I had shared history with. We were both getting drunk. It was well assumed that I was probably going to hook up with her.
At least 15 years ago.
At least. Yeah. Probably more than that.
Yeah.
So, and Also at the time, 9th Jimmy Buffett concert, not bragging. We got margarita machines hooked up to the battery of the car.
In the mouth by margarita guns.
Just shots and stuff. We were having a blast. Anyways, it was well established, like, I'm hooking up with my ex-girlfriend. We're on the lawn and we're making out. And one of Kirby's friends, and let me preface this by saying, like, yes, it is one of Kirby's friends, but she's also our friend's mom. So therefore, well old enough to not be pulling these shenanigans, but she's just a shit. She just likes starting stuff.
My girl.
Love her, not going to say her name, but love her, play golf with her husband all the time. Anyways, she sees me making out with my ex-girlfriend on the lawn, and she just decides, you know what? The alcohol's not enough. I need to mix it up tonight. So she leans over to my sister and she goes, isn't that something down there? And my sister's like, yeah, gross. Like, I don't want to watch my brother make out with somebody. And she's like, no, he's down there doing that while so-and-so, and I'm only saying so-and-so to protect the name of one of our friends who's still in our life. He's down there.
My bestie.
Her bestie, who was at the concert with she wasn't?
No, she was at home because she had to work
That's right. That's
why
important.
I felt like I had to defend her honor.
That's right. There. And that's very important. That's very important to the story.
Mm-hmm.
She goes, he's down there doing that while so-and-so is at home pregnant with his baby.
Yeah.
None of that is even remotely true at all. Not one kernel of truth to that at all. Down there have none of this knowledge at all. I'm just about to hook up. So after the concert, Curry's back there just filled with rage because in her mind, I'm down there. I've impregnated one of her best friends, which, by the way, in the years since, I literally did impregnate one of your best friends and give you your only nephew.
I didn't. I thought you were going to go like a dark white. I was thinking, who else?
No, Amber.
Just the way you said it, I was just thinking, is this like some trauma you're dumping on me and the airheads?
No.
Okay.
So anyway, while I'm having the time of my life setting up what I know is going to be, and by the way, we've got this camper that we call the Leprechaun. And
everybody say Leprechaun, say
yeah. So I've already got my spot picked out. All my boys know, like, stay out of that. Corey's hooking up with his ex, like, because it's a sure deal. When one of your buddies has a sure deal, everybody makes way for them. You know, we got a very good bro code situation going on there. So I'm down there. Unbeknownst to me, Kirby is filled with the rage of 1,000 Hitlers. Like
1,000 Sunfires.
Dude, it's unreal. So anyways, concert's over. Me and this girl are walking arm in arm back to the Leprechaun, okay? Blissfully, stopping every now and then to make out. Then all of a sudden, we're walking and we're near like some porta potties. And I'm stopped in my tracks by a voice who I would recognize through a crowd in Japan. Hey, motherfucker. And I turn around and it's my sister. And she just crow hops, punches me in the nose as hard as she can, knocks me into a porta potty. I fall to my ass. My nose is bleeding. My nose is broke. And I'm just sitting there. And like my only response is, yo, what the fuck, bro? And Kirby's just like, that's what you get. That's what you get. And before she has time to explain anything, my girl, who like it was in the bag, bro, just looks at me and goes, because she knows this is my sister. She goes, yeah, I'm going to go. It seems like you've got some family stuff going on. And then she leaves and I sort of gain composure and I ask Kirby what the deal is. And she tells me, and I was like, that's not true at all. Who told you that? And when she tells me who told her that, I immediately realize what's going on. And I was like, that's not true. And Kirby's like, whatever. And that was that. That was that. And then this is my favorite. This is the only redeeming part of that night. Like, I'm back in the Leprechaun and you rode home with them. You rode home with edit.
Make sure God edit. When you see this, go edit.
Edit. Oh my God. You rode home with blank and blank. And in the Leprechaun on the way home, me and William, I don't mind saying his name. William was just like, man,
I cried the whole way home.
Yeah. William was like, man, you got done. And everybody was feeling bad for me. Like, you got done dirty. But the only thing that made me feel better is on the way home, you were crying. And so Blank's husband was like, what happened? So y'all explained it to Blank's husband, who then immediately called me and like, bro, how upset he was on my behalf and how apologetic he was like, son, I don't even know what to say right now. Like
she broke a sacred vow.
He was like, I don't even know what to say right now. He's like, this is about the most disgraceful thing I've ever seen in my life. He's like, I don't even know. He's like, we might not make it through this. You know, he's like, we might not make it through this. And for the record, like me and him were boys, and we've been like more boys since, because I feel like he has been constantly trying to make up for what his wife did to me, because he took that shit really serious. So anyways, I said all that to say this. We are so sorry about the lack of an episode, and we hope to make it up to you. But the reality is, and I know that most of you don't care. I know that most of you are loyal fans and you understand. But I also know for the vocal minority who are just like, why do you always seem to have trouble with this podcast specifically? Putting on airs, for the most part, surprisingly, even though I'm the one that posts it and stuff, seems to run like clockwork. Well, let me give you the real answer. This is an extremely grassroots podcast. We do not make any money on this podcast.
Yeah, I'll drop my Cash App or Zelle, though.
Yeah, we don't make any money. Like, I don't make... It's not like I make money and just don't pay. I don't make any money on this podcast. This is a pure passion podcast. Like, and dude, even
no one owns us. No one's influencing us. No one owns us. We're not paid by big podcasts.
That's correct. And I mean, dude, here's the thing.
Y'all can pay me, though.
Even if we were, this show comes out once every 3 or 4 years. You know what I mean? How could we even? Like, we've entertained doing the Game of Thrones podcast or whatever, but like, we're not making money on this podcast. It is completely, I'm editing it. She's doing it.
We'd have to phone it in.
Right. She's not a professional podcaster or whatever. Matter of fact, we lose money doing this, or I personally lose money doing this podcast, because every hour I'm doing this podcast, I could be doing something else.
Me too. I have a job.
Right. She has a day job. And I'm not saying that for you guys to be like, oh, we appreciate you so much. I'm just giving you the reality of the situation. That's just the reality of the situation. With putting on airs, we have ads. We make money. It behooves us to have everything on time. We also have a producer. We've also been doing it for 4 years. And before that, comedy for 22, well-read podcast for 10. We know how that all works. This is completely grassroots. So on this particular podcast, and anything, we don't have a network, and anything that's not on a network, shit is going to happen. And we just appreciate all of you who stick with us regardless. But those are the reasons. We had entertained, by the way, doing the episode while I was at the lake, because I was like, well, there is the internet down there. When I got to the lake, I realized that in our lake house were 11 kids. So it was never going to happen. So now we present to you, finally, you're going to see now the instant reaction from episode 3.
That is not on episode 4.
Is this episode 4?
I think.
And that's the one we already did the instant reaction for?
Yes, because we watched it together.
What's it called? We're very professional. Right, because episode 3 is Queen's Landing, and we did put that out.
This one is Tumbleton.
Okay. Right now, you are going to see the instant reaction to episode 4, which is Tumbleton, which I know is insane to see an instant reaction for an episode that is now 2 episodes ago. But you know something? We recorded it, and by God, we're going to put it out. We recorded it, and as you will see in it, we had to stop recording it abruptly because of Laura James. But we did record it, and I will be damned if that 30 minutes is wasted. So enjoy the instant reaction to episode 4, Tumbleton. Then directly after that, enjoy the full breakdown of episode 4, Tumbleton. And then immediately after that, this is a megasode. You're not having to go to 2 different episodes. This is a megasode. Enjoy the full breakdown of episode 5, which is called
Unbowed and Unbent. Or is it Unbowed? Unbowed.
Unbowed. And after that, you are going to hear the full breakdown of episode 5, Unbowed and Unbent. But right now, the instant reaction to episode 4. Okay. Okay, hello everybody, and welcome back to Little House of the Dragon. This is an instant reaction episode, and let me say off top, this might be a very short one because Laura James was entertaining us a lot during this episode. Matter of fact, I was sitting there during the episode, and I was thinking to myself, man, Laura, I really hope Kirby is paying a lot more attention to this episode than I am. And about that time, Kirby looked at me and she was like, boy, I got to tell you, I have missed a lot of this episode because Laura James was doing the stanky leg a lot and being very, very funny. And, well, we weren't going to tell her to stop. But
never.
You know, we do end up watching the episode 2 or 3 more times before we do the actual episode. But we did see quite a bit. And towards the end of the episode, you were about to say something. And I said, Kirby, please save it for the show. So what was it?
Okay, first of all, it's Lord Ormond. I was going to call him Tormund, like
Ormond.
off of Game of Thrones.
Right, Ormond Hightower, Daddy, Grantchester.
Yeah, but all right. So the scene of
the very end, the last scene.
End, when Ormond instructs Darren to strike down that guy,
completely innocent fella.
Yes, it reminded me of season 4 Sopranos when Tony lied to Christopher about the cop that killed his dad.
Yeah.
He got him to kill the cop because it just made him more loyal and beholden to him.
Yeah.
All the while, Uncle Junior's the one that actually had Dickie Moltisanti hit. But Tony knew if I could give him this feeling of power, then he'll be loyal to me.
That I gave him that I'm the one that allowed him to kill the guy.
So it's kind of like he's like, I'm getting you.
And didn't
on
that
my
cop
team.
Just retire too in the show or something like that?
Yeah, it was his retirement party.
It was That was pretty. By the way, speaking of the last scene of the show, let's work backwards a little bit because obviously in an instant reaction episode, you're going to remember those things more. I was just thinking about who is the kid, the Hightower kid that's a ward for Ormond.
That's the youngest heir. That's Targaryen.
I know. I'm asking his name.
Darren.
Why did they dye that kid's hair blonde to try to fool them when his hair's not blonde?
I guess because most people don't realize that his hair's not blonde because he hasn't. And so when you see that blonde hair, you automatically just think, well, no one literally else besides the Targaryen has that.
Okay,
but other people could pass as.
Okay, right on. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. But I was just sitting there looking at him. I was like, and by the way, great casting. He looks just like Olivia Cook.
Yeah.
In my opinion. But that's funny because she had him last and was like, I wanted to have a Hightower.
That's why it makes me think that it's not Viserys's that.
No, that's what I'm thinking too. Because
it's Kristen Cole's.
Yeah, right. No, that's what I'm thinking too. Because it's like she just says on my 4th, I wanted to have a Hightower, and it's like you can just decide that even if you have it with the king.
Seems innocent. I feel like he has to be Viserys's. I feel like he would be a DB if he was Kristen Cole's kid.
I hate Kristen Cole so much.
I saw this meme about him about how he couldn't have. To have Rhaenyra, he wanted her wifed up and this. Meanwhile, Harwin Strong just takes his lady how she is.
Hilarious.
And he don't complain.
Yeah.
He's happy.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Joaquin Phoenix for a while had that thing where he was so good as Commodus that you hated everything he was in. And I got over that because he's such a good actor. But the dude that plays Kristen Cole is almost a little bit that for me. But then, he went on to, the only other thing I've seen him in is, what was that show he was in with Ruffalo? Task. Did you see Task? He similarly plays a POS, so that guy, I pretty much am going to hate him and everything.
You ever notice that Joaquin Phoenix is incapable of just playing a character that might regularly go to the grocery store?
For sure. Yeah, he always wants to, and he's great in everything.
He has to play someone that has a lineage.
Yeah. That's very true. Yeah.
It's so true. I mean, think about it, though. There's no scene of Joaquin Phoenix at Walmart in any movie.
No, I mean, okay, that's not true, actually. Eddington. Have you seen Eddington?
I haven't seen that.
He still plays, he's obviously still a wildcat, but he plays a sheriff in a small town in Texas who absolutely would be seen in a Walmart. However,
fake news, I don't believe it.
The movie is absolutely batshit, but for different reasons. Not like he plays a small town local sheriff. So, but that's the exception that proves the rule. Also, while we're going backwards in this episode, Olivia Cook, Hightower, Alison, at the end when she is talking to Helena and she just says Helena and then it cuts off. What was she about to tell her there?
I missed that part. But, literally right after that.
There was no part to miss. She just says Helena. What do you think she was trying to tell her?
I don't know.
Okay, so you don't have any clue? Did we just miss something?
It literally, I felt like I didn't hear that scene, and then instead of saying, hold on, I got to rewind it.
No. I heard the whole scene.
Well, then, I have no clue then.
Okay. So, I have no idea, but it seemed like we were supposed to know, maybe they're about to flee or something.
There was some niche thing that we were supposed to pick up on.
Also, going backwards, I'm very surprised, but Damon, at least right now, it seems like is doing the good dad thing, and he is covering for his daughter.
He's a single dad that works 2 jobs.
Yeah, he
loves his kids and never stops.
That's very correct. But we saw earlier in the episode, he was out flying Caraxes. I'm getting way better, by the way, this season on remembering names, so just go me. I'm sure everybody for 2 seasons has been wanting to throw things at the computer because I keep getting them wrong. Also, to everybody, I'm sorry, my voice is still a little iffy. If you follow me on Substack, CoreyWritesForYou.com, you'll know that I've steered away from doing voice stuff this week because I've just got a frog in my throat, so I apologize. But he was out flying Caraxes, and Caraxes, you pointed it out. We were watching, you're like, whoa, Caraxes is like crip walking right now. Like, what's the deal? And then you go, oh my God, it senses a dragon. Oh my God, it senses sheep stealer. And you were 100% correct. So it senses sheep stealer, who was being ridden by Rhaenyra.
Yeah.
It's Rhaenyra. Did I get that right too? Ridden by Rhaenyra, who Damon immediately sees and is like, oh my God, he realizes the implications of this. You have killed Jace. Rhaenyra is going to absolutely have your head. And she's basically like, Dad, I've never asked you for anything.
She comes out and her hair is singed and gone.
Bro, it looks really bad. But
she never explains like what happened. Like, did he just, she's like, I've been feeding him sheep. I'm like, did he think your hair was sheep and he just started eating it? Like, did he burn her hair?
I hope this doesn't sound as bad as it could, but like her before she went in the cave and her after she came out of the cave looks like Obama pre and post presidency.
Yeah.
Like she looks like she aged that much. Like it is fucking
it's like
crazy.
We talked about like the Abraham Lincoln
effect. Yeah. She looks like she had been the president during the Civil War.
Or it's just Viserys at the beginning of his reign and the Viserys at the end.
Yeah, unbelievable. He had leprosy, right?
Yeah, something.
Anyways, she comes out and tells him, like, you have not been a good dad to me. I have been your least favorite child. For the love of God, can you just do the least you can do and just pretend you didn't see me?
Yeah.
I'm going to piss off. And he does her one better. He's like, he goes out and looks down and sees this dude with a bunch of sheep and is like, I'm going to kill this dude. And because he can't just go back and do nothing, he does need to.
I know. Well, now I'm like, he's going to have to kill Lady Jane because she knows.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, like, Lady Jane knows, like,
oh, that's true.
his long-necked dragon's going to have to kill her long-necked self.
Yeah, damn, I didn't think about that, but like you're 100% correct because
As
like
always and as per usual.
because I was sitting there thinking like, yeah, Damon, all you got to do is do nothing, but it's like, no, if he does nothing, the search will continue for Sheep Stealer, and she's clearly not going to give it up. So like, he had to provide something.
And he's probably like, oh man, I'm gonna have to murder someone. I hate doing that.
Oh no. But so he kills this random dude and brings it back as like evidence, and then Rhaenyra, which I totally understand, is like, damn it, Damon, like, don't you think that I would have been the one that wanted to do it?
Here it is. Here's the person. Bye.
So he does that and then gives her like a philosophical reasoning, which like does make sense, where he's essentially like, okay, Rhaenyra, so let's say you did that, you killed him. Would you not be grieving then? Which like is true. Like, yeah, you could have done it. You still wouldn't feel any better. But I do feel like she just accepted that and moved on quicker than what was realistic for her, don't you think?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Edit. I've got to get a drink.
Well, you get her in the pantry. There's a box of instant breakfast.
Instant breakfast?
Yeah.
Oh, can I have one of these strawberry juices?
Yeah.
I don't want caffeine. It's not cold, boy.
I know, it's fine.
Also, I'm not going to drink this whole thing, so I'll put it in the fridge for...
Okay.
I just need a sip.
I mean, you could just take it home with you.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there's multiple ones.
Where were we at?
Damon and Rhaenyra like getting over real quick the whole...
Oh, yeah. So, talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he was like, well, here's your revenge. And she was like, well, I wanted to do it. Oh, well.
Yeah, right. Like, I think she moved on like a little too quick. I think they're definitely going to, I feel like they're going to have to come back to that, but obviously that makes sense. They're not going to let that plot just sort of be over.
Yeah.
I wanted to point out that the lady at the Vale,
Jane, long neck.
Yeah, long neck hair. I wanted to point out that here, what do you think she looks like more, a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader or Macho Man Randy Savage?
I can't see that far.
Oh, well, here, look. I'm loving the outfit. I think it's given a little Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yeah, if like ABBA.
Yeah, ABBA. That's a good call.
Yeah, ABBA.
But yeah, good stuff. We were talking about the world building, like when that scene came up, and I was like, man, it's because as soon as they popped over there, I was like, oh, it's the Vale of the Eyrie. And I was like, how wild is it that like we just know the names of houses in this world?
Oh, well, you know what else is crazy? I saw this thing, which I'm sure someone's going to say, you're wrong, you're stupid, read the books, go die when I say this, but that actually the book isn't canon. The book, like whatever book is that the House of the Dragon is based on in the series, that is not canon. The actual show is canon. And the reason they say that is because the book it's a history book written by a maester. About what they believed happened. And this is what actually happened.
So the book is historical fiction.
Like, inside of a world.
I love that.
It's a history book inside of a world.
I love that so much.
Like, and like I was reading up on this stuff, and it's like, well, the rumor is that this person that killed this person. I'm like, what do you mean rumor is? Like, either in George R. Martin's head, he knows they died or they didn't die.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Right.
It's like, what do you mean? Like, literally, it's like reading a history book of a conflict in the 1800s, like, but this is in a world.
Yeah.
I know that I'm not making sense right now.
No, you are, like, to me. I understand it.
The details that he went through like, okay, well, actually, I'm going to write this book as, just take it with a grain of salt. It might not really be true because this is from a maester's point of view.
It's an unreliable narrator. Yeah. Which it would, like, in his world, like, we have, like, Bill O'Reilly writes history books, like Killing Kennedy, Killing Lincoln. Like, I'm sure he has good sources, and I'm not saying that he on purpose lies, but you can't just say, yes, everything in this book is 100%. Bill O'Reilly wrote it. Like, that's a human being that wrote that book. So in George R. R. Martin's world, that Maester is the Bill O'Reilly or whatever. Like,
it's wild.
Yeah, I mean, you know, in the Star Wars has the EU, which is the extended universe, because George Lucas doesn't write books, but he wanted there to be Star Wars books, and so he gave them free license to kind of do whatever. But then every now and then there would be something happening that, and people would be like, was this book canon? And every now and then they'd be like, well, generally, no, they're not canon. But if George Lucas liked something, he'd be like, yeah, that's canon. And they'd be like, is this canon? They'd be like, go ask George. And George would be like, yep, that happened. You know, it's like, if it happened, is like, if George says it did, then it did, you know.
It's crazy.
And so, yeah, it totally and here's another extended universe. This is a fan theory, but I love it so much, and it can actually make you enjoy those really terrible Batman movies, more like, you know, the Joel Schumacher Batman movies, like the Tim Burton did the Michael Keaton ones, right? So the Michael Keaton one was the Batman and Joker with Jack Nicholson, and then the Danny DeVito and the Penguin, and then after that you've got Val Kilmer, and then famously the Bat Nipples with George Clooney, and those were very terrible. Well, they were also way over the top, way campy, like way insane. The fan theory is that those movies are movies in the Michael Keaton Batman universe. So in Michael Keaton's universe, those were the movies that were made for the people in that Batman universe. So like, Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne would have went to see those movies about his life, which I think is very fun. So
we've talked about this before, about how like when celebrities are on a show, like I was watching Friends the other day, and Bruce Willis is in it, and I'm like, oh, okay, so just like Armageddon, the movie doesn't exist,
right? Exactly. And the worst offender of this is like when they go too meta with it, like Ocean's 12, I believe it was. And it's like, could not have ruined a movie more. So we have to buy that, like, okay, this cast is George Clooney, Matt Damon, Julia Roberts, whatever. So do you remember the big plot twist in this movie? They're trying to get around something, and Julia Roberts' character Tess, they were like, you know how we could do this? You know who you really look like? And they were like, it's Julia Roberts. You really look like Julia Roberts. So
that's cheap.
That's very cheap. So in this world, Julia Roberts exists, which means that George Clooney and all them do, and this entire cast just happens to all look like them.
Yeah, that's cheap. All right, baby, I'm gonna put your pajamas on you, okay? You want what?
And as you can see, that's as far as we got in that podcast. Laura James comes first, so we're sorry, but that's why we're doing the megasode for you here. So anyways, back to us in studio. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that instant reaction on. My name is Lord Corey Ryan Forrester. I am the co-host of Little House of the Dragon, and I am joined, as always, by
Lady Kirby.
And the name of this episode is... I did tell you to do that, right?
I thought when it was my turn to actually start talking, I thought you were just... I was introducing myself, then you were going to finish, and you were going to go, okay, go ahead, Lady Kirby.
Right, but that's not what I said.
Okay.
All right, it's fine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce myself, and then...
I know exactly what to do now.
Okay, edit. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that instant reaction. And now for the full breakdown, it is I, Lord Corey Ryan Forrester, Lord of the Manor, joined as always by
Lady Kirby, and we're going to talk about episode 4, Tumbleton.
Tumbleton. I can't wait to talk about this episode.
Yeah.
I had a really good time watching it, but I got to tell you, I did something for both of us that I think you were going to enjoy.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember during the instant reaction episode, and why would you? We did it 7 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I was mentioning something along the lines of, like, I wonder what the Constitution, or like whatever the version of the Constitution.
Are my legs getting in your way?
No, they're fine. Or whatever the version of the Constitution for Westeros would look like.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, it didn't occur to me that, like, of course,
it would definitely say rape twice. Then you'd go on and say, I like rape. Just a little.
It probably wouldn't say rape. It would probably say forced carnal knowledge. But yes, either way.
Yeah. Well, I mean.
Now, by the way, I
don't know if y'all know where that came from, but look that one up.
Yeah, that is, of course, from the greatest movie of all time. Not comedy. The greatest movie of all time, Blazing Saddles.
God, I quote that all
the time.
Not necessarily that, but just the movie.
Okay, so I have not read this yet. I just got the link to it. This is, of course, from a website. We're not sponsored by them.
Fandom, gang. I've talked about them on here before multiple times.
Right, and we're not sponsored by them.
Should be.
We should be. I just want to point that out because we have talked about them multiple times, but I don't want people to think it's because we're getting money for them, because we're not. You turned me on to fandom, and I'm a huge fan of fandom. So this, I haven't read it. I just got the link. This is the Westerosi Constitution. Now, take it with a grain of sand, because it's not like this is coming straight from George R. R. Martin, although fandom, I assume.
Like the grain of sand, like the bastard sands, like.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. Was that what you were doing?
Pun unintentional.
Okay.
Pun.
Because it's always like grain of salt.
Wow. Yeah, it is. No, you know what it means? That was probably a Freudian slip. That was a complete Freudian slip, because I'm totally immersed in this.
You were thinking about Jesus' feet print in the sand.
No, I wasn't. I guarantee you it was because I was thinking about the sands. Like, we just got through with that scene. You know what I mean? It was a Freudian slip because that was what was on my mind. Pun completely unintended. But I'm sure that they draw from all that. Like, that's where they got their information. So if you're not familiar with fandom, it's basically like Wikipedia, but
for worlds, for fan worlds. Like, I mean, Star Wars has, I say fan world, literally any TV show. If you're wondering who someone's daddy is on the TV show, you go and it just like how Wikipedia will say, like, this is when I died. This is, my parents.
Yeah, it's for fictional stuff.
Yeah, and it'll say, like, what episode, like, you died and whatever.
Yeah. I was going to say it's like Wikipedia for nerds, but, like, so is Wikipedia.
It's Wikipedia for people with interests.
Yeah, right. It's Wikipedia for, again, fictional stuff.
ADHDers that like to look up, who do I know him from?
So, on fandom, the Westerosi Constitution, I'll read it as is. Details. Title: The Westerosi Constitution. Purpose: the foundation of land law. Category: constitutional. Labels: Constitution. Constitution piece. Verse 1. Establishment: 129 AC. What is their AC? Do you know what that means?
After the Conqueror.
After the Conqueror. Okay. Creator: Aaron. Status is active. The Westerosi Constitution is a constitutional foundational piece created in 129 AC by Queen Mother Aaron.
Okay, so that's Rhaenyra's mom.
Rhaenyra's mom, Aaron. Prior to the establishment of the Dragon Council, the Constitution, we the people, little derivative, of the 7 kingdoms, in order to form a more perfect and glorious empire, way derivative.
That's funny.
Under the guidance of our monarch, do ordain and establish this Constitution of Westeros. Verses 1. Enactment and enumeration. A. The Constitution of Westeros shall be enacted upon receiving approval from the Dragon Council. This Constitution is not meant to be read in order of enumeration. So, not linear.
Does that just mean not in numerical order?
I guess. Well, which is funny because it's AC.
Well, because after Conqueror, but I guess that's why they...
Either that or they don't have a B in their language, which is weird, though, because we're translating it to ours. So, I don't...
Yeah.
Again, grain of sand. 2, authority of the Constitution. A. This Constitution shall be regarded as the guidelines for the management and the continuation of the seven kingdoms. It shall be considered as the highest law within the realm, and shall outrank all other pieces of legislation, including those that either implicitly or explicitly contradict it. B. The authority of the Constitution shall not be contested in any court of law and may not be violated by the magistrates, even those with administrative permissions. Its authority may only be modified by the council, and its magistrates may not interfere with it, though it shall not be over the authority of the monarch herself. In other words, but I can do whatever I want. And this is not like the monarch that we see today in Britain. So, in other words, it don't matter, right? No one but the monarch shall be above the Constitution. Everyone else should be required to abide by its regulations. Again, I say, it doesn't matter. Any provision within the Constitution that states otherwise shall be overwritten by this one. The magistrates shall never be above the Constitution, though their immunity to other types of legislations may be provided for in the Constitution or through the authority of other legislations. Any restrictions to an overseer's powers within the Constitution shall be considered as limitations to their sovereign authority. D. The order for legislative authority shall be as follows. 1. Royal edict as enacted by the monarch. 2. The Constitution of the Seven Kingdoms as enacted by the Council. 3. Overseer edict as enacted by one or both of the hand or overseer. 4. Counselor edict as enacted by a counselor magistrate. 5. Non-dictatorial legislation as enacted by the council. 6. Religious edict as enacted by the High Septon. So they do not have a separation of church and state, which makes sense as what we saw in Game of Thrones.
With the sparrow.
Brother, let me tell you something right now. And also let me tell you that this is how evil of a character that dude is, because I worship at the altar of Jonathan Pryce. I love Jonathan Pryce so much, so it's very hard for me to hate him. I hated that dude with every fiber of my being, like almost to the level that I hated Joffrey. I hated the High Sparrow. The Sparrows, and who were the ones that wore the gold mask and the black stuff that came in night?
Are you talking about like that almost looked like a bullhorn?
Yes.
Remember, Harpy, something of the Harpy.
The Harpy, Sons of the Harpy.
Sons of the Harpy, because remember, Fish Eater had a half of a mask.
Yes. Dude, the Sparrows, the High Sparrow and the Sparrows and the Sons of the Harpy, to me, are the most terrifying characters George R.R. Martin has ever created. They scare me more than the Mountain. They scare me more than Joffrey. Like, those are the most bone-chilling sons of bitches ever. Because, like, the High Sparrow, the reason he scares me, and I know this is a completely other show just within the same world, the reason he scares me so much is because he wields the type of power that, like, Charles Manson had, where, like, he never actually did anything.
Well, it's Hitler.
Yeah, right.
Hitler never physically killed someone.
Exactly. He just, and also, but like Charles Manson, like Hitler never did it under the guise of peace. Like, he was very, like that guy seemed angry.
Well, to him, it was the guise of peace, because he was saying that white Aryan nation would never have peace.
Right.
If that was one way he put it.
I understand that, but the guy seemed angry. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, he didn't actually kill anybody, but his influence was, it's exactly like Charles Manson.
Right, because Charles Manson, like, don't get me wrong, if you watch the court testimony and stuff and you see him, like, he comes in with his swastika or whatever, like, yeah, he was insane and stuff, but like before that, when he was on the hippie commune, like, it was all peace and love. He got everybody there with peace and love. Then the race riots and stuff happened. But like, he was able to wield that power through seeming like, I just want everybody to get along, I'm just blah blah blah, happy-go-lucky, whatever. And like, that's the stuff that really terrifies me. The Harpy stuff was just, they looked super metal and were terrifying.
Yeah, I don't even remember what their technical purpose was, except I do remember that Sir Baron, he was on the King's Guard and then the Queen's Guard.
Yeah.
That he got killed by, but I don't remember like what their like actual purpose was.
I mean, look, I could be completely off base and I'm just like remembering something I haven't seen in a while. But to me, it seems like they sort of represented militant terrorism. You know what I mean?
So they were kind
religious
of
terrorism.
Yeah, they were like
jihadists.
Yeah, but what's the word? That it's like the name of it, not the Taliban, but
ISIS.
Yeah,
or any like it just any type of militant, not good. Any type of militant terrorism like that. To me, that's just what those dudes represented.
Okay.
To me, I could be wrong. That's also why I think it doesn't sit right with me. Both of these things, by the way, what's the common denominator? Religion. Like that shit just doesn't sit right with me. Joffrey, while terrifying, dude, he's just the product of like, yeah, I mean, that's what happens when you're born knowing you're going to be king and you're not disciplined and your mom is a brother fucker. Like that's a very rare instance that I don't have to be scared of. But the other two things are very prevalent in our society, which that really makes me upset. Okay, so what in the absolute hell were we talking about? Were we still talking about this? Oh yeah, separation of church and state. The Constitution may not be edited without the approval of the Dragon Council. Duh. The format of the Constitution shall be maintained and upkept by the council keepers. The monarch shall not require the council's approval to edit the Constitution. The council holds the sole power of editing the Constitution. Any legislation aiming to amend the Constitution must at least be supported by 10 councilors, including 3 magistrates. The council may propose constitutional changes to the Senate. D, the hand of the Queen and the Lord Chancellor may not edit anything in the Constitution, even if it was in agreement. Any changes made under this provision shall be informed in the council immediately after being made. To avoid confusion, the hand of the Queen and the Lord Chancellor may not outpass any constitutional amendments in this council. Constitutional amendments may not be auto-passed, even if it met the requirements for an auto-pass, unless it's auto-passed by a councilor vote through a councilor meeting. Interpretation of legislation. Firstly, should contradictions arise within currently active legislation in a 1-to-1 ratio to incompatible statements, 2 courses of action are possible. Should it be a restriction, both will be rendered null, removing the restriction. Should it be a bypass, granting the powers / granting of powers, both statements will be considered null, removing any bypass or powers. This removal shall begin an interim period while the second statement is enacted. If a contradiction arises that is not in accordance with a 1-to-1 ratio, the more numerous understanding shall be followed, again in an interim period. During that time, the second clause will again be subject to implementation. Once a consensus is achieved via the aforementioned clauses, the hand of the Queen, council keeper, coordinator, you can tell when this was written because they're all talking about Queen, not King. The council keeper, coordinator.
But Queen Amon was alive and she was married to the king. This was before Rhaenyra was a queen, was like the queen. So I'm confused.
Okay, interesting. Council keeper coordinator and council keepers are allotted scribal authority to revise the now defunct state. Okay, what if it has been updated because in current Westeros there is a queen that we just don't know about?
Like current during House of the Dragon?
No,
or
current during right now. Like this, Westeros is still happening.
But it's not canon yet until it's actually like out in a book. Right?
Maybe George Martin just said it in an interview.
Or maybe there's been an edit since Rhaenyra was queen and they just don't mention in there like a new amendment.
That's too. By the way, can I tell you right now, and I know this isn't the podcast for it maybe, but one thing that has really radicalized me about, let's say it this way, completely unchecked and unbridled gross capitalism is the fact that it is nigh on impossible to just read a fucking website anymore. Like when you're scrolling a website, you'll just be going along and all of a sudden it'll be like, oh, you missed that ad at the top. We're just going to take you all the way back to the top. And then you go to scroll and then you don't know where you are. And another ad comes up and it says close, but that close was like a
JK close.
A JK closed. And now you don't know where you are. The Constitution shall always be above any other legislation except in relation to edict under the power of the monarch. Should two magistrates disagree, it will be the responsibility of the council keeper coordinator, the hand of the queen, or the Lord Chancellor to be the deciding factor. If both the hand of the queen and the Lord Chancellor have a disagreement, it is to be solved by a vote of the council. The monarch may also become involved at their own discretion. Nobody in the council shall be permitted to extend or permanent their own magistrate term unless voted upon. Does that sound weird?
Should it have been permeate? I don't know. It should be extend or make permanent.
Make permanent.
Yeah.
Said regulation may be lifted by the monarch or council itself. C. Protection for appointed counselors may never exceed 2 weeks, 14 days. Thank you for that. Unless given by the monarch or the council itself. Nobody in the council shall be allowed to appoint someone into the council without at least having given them an application for reading. This regulation does not apply to the representative positions. And that's it. So interestingly enough, it doesn't have any not interestingly enough, this is exactly it, because Westeros is ultimately, as you can imagine, a dictatorship. So there's no Bill of Rights or anything. It's essentially just telling you, hey, this is a monarchy. This is a dictatorship.
Yeah, I mean, it's just an old school feudal system.
It's an old school feudal system. Here's what the laws are. The laws are whatever the monarchy says. And you can come to me, for the record, with your ideas for what it is I should do. But you can't just come to me one-on-one. There's this whole council and you vote upon it. And this is the pecking order of who gets to vote on it. And when it comes down to a vote, these people cancel out and you're more important than you. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be me. This what I'm going to do. There you go. So there you have it.
Mm-hmm.
That is the Westerosi Constitution. Mm-hmm. And we will be right back right after this, where Lady Kirby will explain to us what the F we just watched in episode 4, A Tumbleton. A Tumbleton. Kick it off whenever you're ready.
Alrighty. Episode 4, Tumbleton. Start the episode and Ormond, Hightowers, soldiers they're bussing down in Tumbleton, which, by the way, we never get an explanation, but is Tumbleton just freaking Jersey to Manhattan situation from the Red Keep or something? Because it seems like it must be pretty
They
easy.
do seem to pop over.
Yeah, because I feel Hugh the Hammer's wife is in Tumbleton with her brother, and it's I know not that much time has passed from him seeing her and her being there with her brother. So it couldn't have been that long of a boat ride over, something like that, I'm assuming. But
well, on that note, I'll comment. You would think, and in old Game of Thrones logic, that would be correct. However, and hopefully they've reset since critics and audience members pointed it out to them that we don't like this. But if you'll remember, when the show started falling off, season 7 and 8 of regular Game of Thrones, one of the main criticisms was through the first, basically, we note the fall off as when it got past the books, right?
Yeah, and I'm not necessarily complete. Is it just the last season?
To me, the fall off starts at 7, and that was the first season. The first season past the books is 7. And I don't think 7 is near as bad as 8, but you can tell this dialogue is not George R.R. Martin, right? And another thing that they did that, for the record, makes so much sense for TV, but when you have established, here's the deal, and Trey made this point to me, and it changed the way I see things forever. In the first several seasons of the show, the reason that a lot of these actors who have worked on this show for 6 years together, you would hear them do interviews and they're like, this is the first time we've actually met. And everybody's like, what are you talking about? And they're like, well, our characters are never on the same island because
Daenerys and Jon Snow are in a scene
because
together.
It takes years to travel there. Or like when Robert goes to visit Ned, like that's a month something journey, you know? And you knew that was baked into the show. So like if one character decides I have to go to X, that means for the entire season, you're going to follow their journey to X. Then towards the end of the season, to make it convenient for them, people were just beam me up Scottian all over the place. Like for instance, in season 1, when Tyrion wanted to go to the Wall, they showed his entire journey to the Wall. In the later years, when he wants to go back and visit, he just pops back like he just took a Boeing 747. You know what I mean? So my question is, did they start this show fresh with that logic of like, we'll just let him go anywhere? Or did they go, we know that's stupid and we're following the book. So I'd like to think, since we are still with the books on these, that you're correct, and it's like a Manhattan to Jersey situation.
Well, and I need to look it up, because I do know that like Dragonstone to King's Landing is a Manhattan Jersey situation.
Right. And the thing
I do know that because I looked it up, because you can Google like what the dragon time would be, flying the dragon.
Hey, for the next episode, would you please get us some literature on that? You don't have to do it right now. But the thing that Trey said that changed the way I think about everything, and you're going to love this, that got brought up because we watched season 8 live together. We were on the road, and we were so committed to it that like some of the hotel TVs didn't have the capability, like they wouldn't allow you to put your HDMI cable back in them. So when we were on the road, I drove everywhere we went, and I packed my 60-inch TV along with my Xbox so that so that on Sundays we could all watch the show, right? And we were wholly unprepared we were like thinking like, dude, this is going to be the best tour ever. Every Sunday night we're going to watch this. Well, it turned out to be a huge stinker. And we were watching one episode, and I remember we were in Jacksonville, Florida, just accidentally did some meth. And we were watching the episode, and I was like, man, that sucked. But Trey's specific gripe with it was, he was like, bro, he's like, they went straight from Dorne to blah, 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 blah. He's like, in season 2, that shit took months, and they just like did it. And I go, okay. I was like, we're in a show with dragons though, bro. Like, I mean, you just got to kind of accept some stuff.
Or just accept that it has been 6 months and they're just not saying it.
Yeah, but it hadn't. Like it totally hadn't. Like you could tell, like they popped over, and then when they came back, the same stuff was going on. Like it hadn't. I was like, you just got to accept some stuff like that. And he's like, no, dude. He goes, listen to me. He goes, that's dumb, and here's why. And I was like, why? He goes, yes, this show has dragons. It's had dragons from the very jump. But also from the very jump, it told you that it takes 4 months to get from here to here. Those are the rules that the show has set. And you have to keep going by those rules. If you can all of a sudden just make up stuff, then nothing you saw before is real, and nothing you saw matters. He goes, we all know that this show is fake. But
we still need a reliable narrator.
But we need a reliable narrator, and you need reliable rules. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. Like just like Stone Cold Stunner knocks you out. That knocks you out. The moment it doesn't, it means nothing. You know what I mean? And I was like, damn, you're right. It's like, even if the show is fake, like, you have a certain set of rules, and that show has to follow the rules that it sets. Otherwise, you're a lazy writer, because then, like, the writer is beholden to, this is what in this world, this happens. You know, like, yes, this world may be fake, but in this world, the laws of physics still apply. Like, imagine you're watching Gossip Girl, and all of a sudden somebody gets in trouble and they just flew. Like they just jumped up and flew over a building, and someone went, I mean, it's not a real show. You'd be like, right, but they don't have superpowers in it. What are you talking about? So that sort of changed my perception on that.
And back to Tumbleton, though, I looked it up. Tumbleton is in the Reach, and Red Keep is in the Crown Lands, and they said it would estimate between 2 to 3 hours for a dragon to get to Tumbleton.
Okay.
So, like, nothing crazy, just about like going to Atlanta.
Yeah. No problem.
Yeah. So they Tumbleton, and it shows them walking through town, and it looks identical to the Red Keep, and it's the same kind of, I was going to say like wealth class, I guess, like poor town folk looks the same in Tumbleton that it does Red Keep, which I've come to realize that literally, unless you are a lord, that you are basically destitute.
Pretty much. Yeah, and I guess that's how a feudal system just kind of be.
Yeah, true, because, there was no thing as like, there was no the Westerosi dream, like there is like the American dream.
You can't have that in a caste system.
Yeah, it was a straight up like feudal system.
Well, except for, you say that, and I think that too, but then you've got like Sir Kristen.
There was situations where people weren't royals or it could happen. You have people that like see, a need in the market and they are able to do it, but it is a rare thing.
It's not a logical aspiration. It's far from America, the America we say we are.
Yeah, it was more of a, I'm a grandson of a butcher. We're like, now it's like, oh, cool, you were a grandson of a butcher.
Right on, cool. And what do you do now? I DJ.
Yeah, like, did you learn any cool butching skills?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so there you go. They're in town, and they show up, and they're at this house, and all of a sudden you see it's Hugh the Hammer's wife's family's house, her brother's house. And they're like, we're going to stay here. And the brother's like, we're crammed, like, we don't have room. And he's just like, tough titty, So you already know that, like, something is going to go down at Tumbleton, because it's just foreshadowing that we see Hugh the Hammer's sister. So
I'm ready to see Hugh's hammer.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, and then it cuts over to Ormond Hightower, and he's just in the bath. Any way they can make it where it's obvious that he's kind of an eccentric character, they do it.
Love
like,
it.
you know how he likes to, like, he has a odor thing where he's like sensitive to him, so he has this little thing of perfume that he smells like. So naturally, he just gets out of the bathtub with his like schlong, I'm assuming, to his knees.
Yeah.
And
I can't wait for that to come back up, by the way.
Yeah.
That the odor thing is going to come back up.
Oh, yeah, because Alison mentioned it.
Yeah, the eccentricity, like all those eccentricities, I think are mostly played just for character development. But that one specific line is like, that is going to come up in a either get him killed or something way.
Yeah. So he gets out and he's talking to these like royal people and or nobles, and he's like telling them like, listen, like, y'all are just gonna have to obey.
Yeah, because it's their house.
Yeah. Yes, that's it.
That's it. It's their house.
It's their house, and he's just like,
and he's just in the tub like,
all right, well, sorry, I've taken over. This is my house now.
Yeah, because again, in their constitution, there's no, you don't have to give quarter.
Yeah.
Well,
so he gets a raven, and it's from
Harrenhal.
No. It's from Baratheons.
Baratheons, yeah. Baratheon.
And the Stormlands. They're the Stormlands. Yes, the Stormlands. It's from the Stormlands, and it's the Baratheons. And if you remember from the episode that Luke dies,
yes,
he goes and sees the Baratheons to remind them of their oath, and the Baratheons were not oath keepers.
Right.
And they decided to hang out with Team Green. And so, as a gift to them, Amon said, I'll marry one of your daughters.
Right, as you did back then.
Well, so now he's wanting to, like, cash up on that. And he's like, hey, where's Amon at? Like, he said he was going to, like, hook up with one of my daughters, and, like, we ain't seen him at all. And so Ormond's like, crap, we gotta find him. Like, what's the deal, And then it cuts over to the cut.
Edit.
Sorry.
Say edit, not cut.
Edit. Okay. Sorry. My phone, when I typed, obviously did not autocorrect, and I saw demons instead of... yeah. Okay. All right. So we cut over to Harrenhal and, Sir Kristen and
Oh, by the way, can I say real quick before we get off of Ormond Hightower that so quickly, because he just this is early in the season. Well, I guess it's only the midway point through the season, but he so quickly established himself as the big bad of this season. And I don't know if it's purely the writing or if it has a lot to do with James Norton, the actor, because he's such a great actor. But he's obviously way more I think that, which I think that's what's good about him, is he is an asshole and we know that he's the villain, but he's also very likable in a sense of whereas the dude from season 1 of Game of Thrones, Dany's brother who gets the golden crown, wanted him to die from moment one. Now, I cannot wait to see Ormond get his comeuppance because that's what I crave justice. I think all audience members crave justice. But if he gets away with it, I get him in season 2 and he gets to be a little bit worse, I'm fine with that as well. You know what I mean? I just, he kicked those people out of their house and made it seem like it was their idea. That's a fucking ruthless badass. There's something about it. He got swag. He got swag.
Yeah, so he's like, we got to find Amon. And he's like, if Vagar does not come to our defense, come to us, our defenses will not hold. And then we cut over to the Rhaenyra's counselor or whatever. And she's just like, why did he seize Tumbleton? I don't understand. They're really they're not they're not in some location that we need. They're not important strategy wise. So what's the reason? And she's like, well, maybe they're sworn to me, so maybe he thinks if he takes over, the only way I'm going to win is by tearing down my own people.
Right.
And, I don't want to do that. And so Rhaenyra ends up talking to Alison about Ormond, and she's like, tell me what his deal is, And Alison's like, I don't really know. I mean, I just know he's sensitive to smells, which obviously that's going to get brought up somehow.
It's going to get brought up.
Yeah. And then we get over to scrambled egg.
Hey, hold on. Before you get to scrambled egg, I have some thoughts on the Alison and Rhaenyra situation. Because you're a mother. I mean, I think this works for me too, but okay. I'm usually bothered when people are like, oh, there's just something about a mother and their child, because let me get through this. I'm usually bothered because you know how much I love Bane. And Bane's, I feel like a daddy's boy right now, and the love I have for Bane is, well, I mean, I can't measure it. It's unbelievable. However, I'm not archaic and testosterone filled. You carried him. You carried him. And I'm not stupid enough to think that that's something. However,
our body created a body part that we ended up getting rid of.
Yeah, right.
An organ.
Right. So, what I mean is, my first instinct is to be like, you think I don't love my son as much as them? But then when I really think about it, I'm like, it has nothing to do with that.
I don't know if it's the love or if a physical,
it's like part of your arm.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like part of your arm. So, I get it. But Alison had to, and it was so common back then.
Send him off to ward.
Yeah,
But she says I had all these Targaryens and I just wanted one of them to be a Hightower.
Right, but how do you think Alison could ever truly, fully be? Do you think anyone like that can actually be a good person or a good mother?
She's a good mother to Helena. But
sure.
Well, she could have been just as good to the other ones. The other ones just literally are bad.
Right. Okay. Fair. But if I have a son, right now, let's say I beat the ever-loving shit out of Bane every day of his life. Every day of his life until he turns 20, and then I send him off and he goes and does God knows what. And then I end up remarrying to some 22-year-old girl, and I have a son, and I treat him amazing. Am I a good father?
No, because I mean, it's kind of like, if we're going to get technical about it, Alison's a better mother than Rhaenyra is.
Okay, but that's not what I'm asking. That's comparing someone. That's like going like when you and your wife are having troubles, and your wife, for instance, is like, well, you could be married to so and so, or when like somebody is complaining about America, they're like, our healthcare system is screwed up, and they're like, well, why don't you go live in Iran? I'm like, I'm not talking about Iran. The bar shouldn't be Iran. You know what I mean? We're not talking about that. I'm not. There's worse people out there, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about you. What I'm saying is, Alison, is there any way in your head that you can think that a mother who would give up their son, possibly never to be seen again, for political gain, mind you, for political gain, because that's what this is?
I don't think that she did it for political gain.
Then why'd she do it?
Because she said, I had all these Targaryens. I wanted a high tower. In other words, I wanted something that ended up being good and was away from all this evil that we're around.
Okay.
That's the way I saw it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, then that's a good answer.
Because, like I was saying,
that's actually selfless.
Well, that's why she says it's honestly the only motherly thing I've ever really done.
Okay. Actually, right. I know, and I knew she said that, but I was like, is that just a thing she needs to believe?
No, I truly, because it's almost kind of like how Cersei was. Cersei was evil, but
she did love her kids.
Because, he says, Tyrion says to her that her love for her children is her only redeeming quality. And he said that and her cheekbones.
Yeah. Anyways, I asked you that question mainly because I've watched that scene 3 times right now, and I just want to give flowers. Olivia Cook is, pun intended, cooking in this show. I don't think a lot of people are appreciating, because she doesn't have a ton to do in this season except for sort of sit around and get lectured at and be asked questions. But like the work she's doing in her face, like the emotion she's conveying in her face, she truly does give off, I am a beaten down woman who just got everything taken from me. And so anyways, like, I'm just curious. But yeah, the way that you answered that makes complete and total sense. And my mind has been changed. And you know why my mind has been changed, folks? Because I listened to a woman. Did you hear that? All right, go ahead.
All righty. So we get to scrambled egg and Larys.
Fried egg. What was fried egg?
Oh, yeah, fried egg. Sorry, because he was burnt.
Yeah.
Fried egg and Larys Lightfoot. They see Sunfire, and Egg's like, okay, I got to go see my boy. So Larys starts talking to these just like cornies.
Absolute cornies.
And they literally tell him, like, they're short. Like, obviously, it's like if like a meteor fell like in your yard, you charge people to come see it or whatever.
Yeah.
So they're
for those who don't know, they were selling the ability to touch.
Yes, he said you can sit the saddle for a half goat.
They were selling the ability
to
touch a dragon. Right.
He tells him, he goes, he's got both hands on him. That's 2 touches.
Yeah, they're like carnies, but also like selling we're in an OnlyFans world, so like selling touches of a dragon is like the most bottom feeder in the world of pimps that you can possibly be.
So he is talking to Sunfire. Aegon is, and
the dragon, right?
Yeah,
that's the dragon.
Yeah, and it's honestly the most human we've like ever seen him.
He was upset.
Yeah,
them Targaryens, like they
see them as like their
dogs.
children.
Well, yeah, more like children, but like at the very least, like how we would feel about a dog.
And so he says he's alive, and Larys, who by the way is faking being a septon so he doesn't get like murdered.
Yeah,
because the carnies realize that they have money, and realizes that Larys has a limp and that they could easily take him.
Of course,
and so Larys goes up to Aegon.
They don't really give off the vibe that he would need a limp in order for them to beat the shit out of him. But yeah.
But So he goes up to Laris and he's like, listen, chill. Like, we got to get out of here. Like, they're going to catch on. We got to get out of here.
And Aegon is just so not used to a world where he has to worry about anything.
Anything. Yeah. So then we got Cole arriving to Harrenhal. Alice sees them, talks to them for a second, and they're like, where's Amon at? And so they think Amon fled.
Why wouldn't you?
All the while, he's just like in like the dungeon or whatever. And we're at Harrenhal. We see Kristen Cole, and he's talking to Alison's brother. It starts with a G. Garen.
We'll go with Garen.
Yeah, Garen. I don't know. So he's talking to Kristen Cole. He's like, our King Aegon is dead. Our queens are in chains. Like, we're not doing good. We need to holler at my uncle Ormond and say, hey, we need to join forces with you. And he's like, let us send a raven to Tumbleton. And Cole doesn't want to join forces with the Hightowers. And he says something about attacking someone, and I wasn't really sure.
Kristen?
Yeah, who he was talking about.
I didn't either. We actually, and to be fair, we rewound it 3 or 4 times. And Kirby was getting very frustrated, and I too was getting frustrated, but she kept recording it because she was like, we got to get it right for the podcast. And I told her, I was like, no, we don't. This podcast is our thoughts on the show. And if our thoughts on the show are stupid, then that's what they need to be. Matter of fact, it will help with engagement because everybody on YouTube right now is currently in the comment section going, you idiots. They are clearly talking about.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So then we see Alan talking to his daddy, Sea Snake Daddy. And he's like, well, Alan's like, they need you. And he's like, at the council meeting, he's like, no, like, I got my own thing going on. Like, I know I'm her hand, but like, I'm not her ear right now or something like that. And I'm just going to like, bust it down on the seas.
Yeah.
And, Alan's like, all right, bet. Do you need me to go like tell them that officially? And he's like, run and tell them.
Yeah.
And so Alan goes up to Rhaenyra and he's like, my Lord Father has lost much. He finds himself thwarted. In other words, like you ticked him off, you did him wrong, and a fight, meaning with the Triarchy, might be what he needs to basically like calm himself down. And Rhaenyra is just like, hey, what, all right, so then she's like, look out. She shows Alan. She's like, look at my dad's, Lego set.
Right.
And she starts talking about like his thoughts about building this and how it's old Valyria and how he, it represented this. And all the while we're literally just like, nah, Viserys just like playing with his Legos. Like, honestly, he was Bobby on Sopranos with the train. Because he literally tried to be the most unproblematic. Like, honestly, there needs to be a meme of him in a conductor hat and and pinstripe overalls. And it's just like, or like Viserys in the when he goes to the pawn shop. You know how he died? Not pawn shop, at the train store. That's when he gets murdered. Just show Viserys getting some sort of like, tree or something at the store to go on his set, and he just like, the Greens murder him there.
Or just one so as simple as Viserys sitting at dinner and the caption is just, this was Karen's last ZD. would also work. Let's mock a couple of these up. We need to go back to, you remember the old segment we did? I can't remember if it was on season 1 or 2, but it was the Reddit Keep.
Yeah,
where we just shared all the memes mm-hmm. of the poppy. Mm-hmm. We need to go back to doing that. Rhaenyra also said a quote that is going to stick with me forever. She said during all of that, while looking at the Legos, she said, fathers have a maddening capacity to at once inspire and incense, don't you think? And that really got me.
Yeah, like
it's
she was
so
just like,
true.
Yeah, but also when she said that, was that a dig at him? Like, I actually had a father growing up.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
I just can't read Rhaenyra right now. I think that the read level for Rhaenyra is like at the hooked on phonics stage. I can't figure out what's going on. Nothing with her.
No, I can't either. And I don't know if that's, again, like, and it's all subtextual. You know what I mean? It's all how the actor is doing it, who is also fantastic. I mean, dude, this show was cast. It was cast so well.
Mhm.
Every single person on this show rips. Every single new person that they got rips. I understand, like, part of the beauty of Game of Thrones when it came out was, aside from like your Sean Bean and your Mark Addy, it was a tremendous amount of, we'll say, who's not who. Like, it was a lot of fresh faces. And in this one, obviously, there's a lot more famous people, but that's because the show is now huge. But all the famous, they didn't just get names to get names. Like, they got names that it's like, oh, this person was born to play this character. Like Matt Smith, oh my God. Like, what else would he be doing if not playing Amon?
Yeah, and I feel like they did a good job getting people that don't have, the quote, iPhone face.
Yes,
you
correct.
know what that is.
Yeah, they're all.
If y'all don't know this, iPhone face is like, they're saying that people have done so many like procedures to their face and fillers and stuff that no one looks like
a
like
person.
How used to you could say, oh yeah,
they've got character.
So and so, that actress with the nose. Like, you don't say that anymore because like no one has their own individual features.
Everyone in this show does.
Yeah, so basically they're saying it's hard to cast shows like this because so many famous people all just look too airbrushed.
By the way, I don't know the studies. There's no stats. This is all anecdotal, but all of them are British.
No, that's a huge thing because, I watch so many British shows
and they all have non-iPhone faces.
Yeah, the only thing that they're British, but the show writers are not British because if the show writers, not George R. Martin, but HBO,
right?
If they were British, they would have casted someone older to play Alison. So,
you think so?
In reality, she's the same age as the boys the actors that are her kids.
Right. Okay.
Which I know she was a child bride, but we're supposed to believe that they're not, that they're at least 15 years apart now.
Yeah, it's funny. They're the things that you buy versus the things that you don't buy.
Well, I just know in British film that middle-aged women actors are not frowned upon.
Right. Judi
US.
Dench still be doing anything. I know she's not middle-aged, but you are. That is a very.
Yeah, we have Meryl Streep, and that's basically it.
Basically, I know it's so funny too because people it's always a point of hey, once you hit 40 in Hollywood, it's kind of over. And people always go look at Meryl Streep. And it's and ... who Jamie Lee Curtis. It's if you can only name something on one hand, it's not a good argument in your favor.
The only time that they're featured in anything is as the mom of somebody.
Exactly.
It's never
a side character
lead or anything like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Or
because the romantic lead is the man who ends up being with a 20-year-old woman when he's 50.
Right. And by the way, it is Hollywood's fault, but I got to tell you, this one's on writers. Start writing them. You got to write them. You got to write the fucking things. Now, Hollywood says...
Yeah, no, and you know what? The women are probably writing that, and they're just not being able to get the meetings unless they have a casting couch situation.
Yeah.
So it's all just...
Well, and unfortunately, and this is not their fault, the women that are writing are probably I'm already a woman. I better write something that they want to hear. So they are writing...
Yeah, men are pigs.
Men are pigs, for sure. Okay, well, we will take a break, and we will be right back with more episode 4. Okay, we're back. Hey, before we get going on this last part, I want to go back just real quick because I just remembered that me and the boys group chat, which includes me and fellow comedians Trey Crowder and Drew Morgan, who you know, and our buddy Mark Agee, who you know from me talking about Mark. Probably. Yeah, Mark Agee. Mark is a writer. He's a great writer. He was a writer on the Jim Jeffries show, the Anthony Jeselnik offensive, a lot of things. He's just a great TV writer and a buddy of ours. So we've been in constant contact in a group thread for 8 years. And I mean, if you put a gun to my head and said, if you get this answer wrong, I'll shoot you. Has there been a day in 8 years that a text hasn't been sent to that group? I would answer yes with the confidence of a Kennedy, constant contact. So, of course, we've been chatting during this entire show. And last week, Trey sent a text that said, why do Larys and Aegon need to specifically hide out as shit boys in buttfuck town, right? They trying to get a boat out of there or something? And I said, I believe. Then I added, it seems like no one cares for the queen, so you'd think they could say who they were and be granted passage and a hand. Then Mark said, I don't remember if they had a plan other than if we don't leave, King Face Scar dead. Then Trey said, right, and I totally get that part. I just don't get why they couldn't go to some place with less rape and poop. Trey said, Mark said, they got no money. And Trey said, I know, but they could be penniless somewhere else, though. Anyways, I thought that was funny.
That is funny.
That is very funny.
Yeah, I mean, their whole thing is that they're trying to get to Rook's Rest because they think that Kristen Cole's still there and he ain't.
Right. And they want to kill him?
No, they want to seek refuge with him.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah. I forgot he hits for them.
Yeah. And so, because they're scared that Amon was going to kill. They don't realize that Amon's not at the Red Keep.
Right. That's the thing. That's a beautiful thing about doing shows like these. And one of the reasons why at CoreyWritesForYou.com, which is what this show is brought to you by, people definitely probably notice that almost every single thing that I write is a period piece. Now, sometimes that period might just be the 90s, but the reason I like doing that is because I like taking technological advantages away from characters.
Oh, yeah, that's how you can extend something, because it would be over in like one day if someone could just like send a text and be like, right. Hey, we can't find Amon.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. And it's also why, like, modern day, like, don't get me wrong, I don't like war, but Lord, they've given us some good movies.
Yeah.
But I like old war movies more. Like, World War II is like the furthest I like to go back, because I like movies and shows and stuff like that where like their obstacles are limited by the, to us, archaic technology they have.
You don't like to go past World War II. One reason too is because I do this too. I like to think, well, Edna was 22 when this
happened. There's that too. There's a familiarity. Mm-hmm. There's a familiarity to it. But I love shit like this because, like, yeah, when stuff happens in this world, the people out fighting have no idea what has just happened. Like, their liege lord could have just completely changed his tune, and they are now fighting for something completely different, or they're on a completely different side. And they got no idea. Like, dude, there was a story that came out not that long ago that there had been a Vietnamese guy, who was in the jungle of Vietnam for like 50 years because he just assumed the war was still going on because he never got the message. You know what I mean? So I love that shit.
Well, I mean, isn't that kind of like what happened in Tropic Thunder?
Yes, that is what happened in Tropic Thunder. Probably back. Don't even get me started, because it'll be a whole different podcast. Holds Up, one of the funniest movies of all time.
It's stupid how funny it is.
Instant classic. There's not a fat on the bone, like, unbelievable. But I love that, and I think, like, to any writer out there who is like struggling with like plot or like, how do I make something interesting? Dude, whatever idea you have, just set it even 20 years ago. Just like take cell phones out of people's hands, and all of a sudden you go, oh, wow, it's so easy to create a problem, because like so many things that were a problem 20 years ago are just so solvable now with a quick Google or a Google map or whatever. And like, yeah, like, even then, like, this whole situation, they could have just sent a text like, yo, homie, where you at? but they got no clue. You know what I mean? So I love that.
So I'm not positive where Fried Egg and Laris are when they like see the people in town and say they need to seek shelter.
Trey says Buttfuckville.
Okay, yeah, I don't know if that's in the reach or where that's at, but so he's like, all right, I've got some coin if like we can seek shelter. And dudes are obviously just bad guys,
right?
You know, and they're like, well, I mean, like, well, why would we do that? You know, and Laris is like, I mean, I know. Well, the guy's like, well, I mean, if we did that, like, how are y'all going to earn your keep, you know?
Right.
And Laris is like, I know a little bit about herbs and can read some.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, in reality, he can read regular, which, by the way, he might not know about herbs, but he can read.
He can read, yeah.
And what's so funny is...
That's not a skill that's going to help anybody that's going to give them work, I don't think.
Yeah, I know, because you got to think it's not like, oh, he can write ravens. Oh, the only people that got to send ravens were like the lords.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
people passing information.
People like me and you and King's Landing, like we can't just go holler at our cousin on Dragonstone.
No, because you've got to also have ravens.
Yeah, the ravens are from the Citadel, and the Citadel assigns maesters to households.
Right. They didn't have a United States post office. They were not a democracy, as we stated in our Westeros Constitution.
Yeah. So he tells them that, and they're like, okay.
So how much coin does he have on him? Because
I don't know.
Let me go back to something I wanted to say, but
enough to feel a little. He's got a little leather, like a little. Like it looks like a Crown Royal bag,
right?
But it's leather, so enough to fit in there.
Okay, right. But that's gonna end up going away.
Yeah, and he's just hoping that he doesn't get robbed
and they don't have bank cards and stuff. Because I was thinking this when, and this will come up later because we haven't covered this part. When Damon goes to the area and he gets all that coin, and he's just got to load it on saddlebags and put it on the dragon. And I was thinking, like, God dang, like what they wouldn't do for a wire transfer back then.
Yeah.
Because
and also it's just like before there was electronic money. Like I think about these instances where, like back in the day, let's say like a family comes in to Ellis Island and they only have their possessions and the money in their pockets, and let's say they get robbed,
of course,
or like their possessions don't show up,
they're fine.
It doesn't matter that they were loaded a couple months ago.
Doesn't matter at
all.
Like
they're starting from scratch. Like they're going to be prostitutes now.
Of course.
Like there's no, like that one instant.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's just, well, I mean, you know, most Americans are just 1 month away, one mortgage payment missed to.
For sure. But like even if you are rich, like this is my, like Amber, okay, and I'm not a financial advisor, but like I heard this from Bill Burr, who he's not a financial advisor either, but he is a rich person. But he was talking about like using his credit card all the time, even when it's just like going out to McDonald's and like never using his debit card. And somebody was like, why? And he's like, because that's not my money. He's like, that's the bank's money. He's like, if my credit card gets stolen, I just call the bank and they're like, cool, I'll take care of it, you know, whatever. He's like, if my credit card gets hacked, they're like, here's your money back, I'll take care of it. He's like, if they hack my debit card and my bank can't figure it out, that's my money and it's just gone. Like it's gone completely and there's nothing they can do about it. And like, if you've got a bunch of cash on you and it gets stolen, like that's yours, that's gone. And for the record, like fuck credit cards, fuck predatory lending, all that stuff. But like, yeah, back in the day, like, you know, we all want to, like, I don't trust the government. I don't trust financial institutions, but like, good luck to you if you hide your money under the mattress, because if that gets stolen or your house burns down, you ain't got shit, dog. And back then, that's the only way you could have anything. And it is surprising to me that a place like the Erie and the Vale and like, what's their big bank called? The Bank of...
The Iron Bank.
The Iron Bank. They ain't got checks. Like, that would have it with the seal. Like, the Vale can't be like, here's my official letterhead. This is worth 1 million dragons and you can take it to Dragonstone and they'll cash it at your place. So you don't have to weigh down your dragon with fucking 10,000 pounds of gold.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but in a war, they didn't have time for IOUs and that. Like, they needed the money.
That's true. Or perhaps she gave him an IOU, but also that was a little walking around gold.
Yeah,
like,
that might have just been some pocket money.
Yeah, true. Anyways, I'm sorry. Stuff like that just not bothers me, but like intrigues me.
Yeah, no, you good. So he's like, I know about some herbs and I can read. So dude bro, who calls himself a lord, he's not really a lord. He's just obviously like the bully of the area. And he looks over at his dude bro and calls it, his dude bro is Tangle Tongue.
Tangle Tongue.
He said,
you think that means he stutters?
Probably.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. But he said, this one here works and collects pee for the tanners and poop for the, he didn't say poop, I guess. I think he just said like shit or whatever for the farmers.
Yeah.
And so he goes, that'll work out. Y'all could be Tangle Tongue and Mangle Face talking to Fried Egg. And so, Aegon's like, yeah, I ain't gonna do that. And he's whispering under his breath and saying, like, I mean, I can read just as good as he can. Like, why can't I do that? Like, how Laris is gonna get to read.
Trivia. Do you know that that was a real thing?
Yeah.
Getting pissed for the tanner. That is where the
piss
term
poor.
Did you know that?
Yeah. So
why'd you say that with derision?
Because it's like, yeah, I know that.
Okay. But you said it like, yeah, of course I do, you idiot.
Oh, I just meant like, of course, I'm smart on that.
Okay, just so you know, I learned that maybe 4 days ago. So I wasn't trying to be like I learned that 4 days ago.
No, you good.
Okay.
Yeah. So Egg's just like under his breath, like, I mean, I can read as good as him, but whatever. So
you can't say egg anymore, by the way. You got to say egg on.
Yeah.
You got to say fried egg.
Yeah, I'm sorry, because of Dunkin' Egg.
Yeah, but which you haven't seen, chastise her on the internet. She claims to be the biggest Game of Thrones fan ever, which, by the way, never seen.
Okay.
Kirby, I've never seen someone rewatch a show. You've rewatched Game of Thrones all the way through 20 times or more? Yes? At least.
A lot.
At least 20 times or more. All the way through, even the bad seasons. You're one of the biggest Game of Thrones fans I've ever seen.
I know why I didn't watch it. It's because, like, I was in the mood when it came out. I wasn't in the mood for a comedy. Like, I was in like my dramatic era.
I hear you, but they're 30-minute episodes and there's only 6 of them. You could watch them all.
I was in my blue period.
I know that, but it's Game of Thrones, and like, is there not a part of you that's not a completionist?
Well, and
it's better than
one of the things too. Literally, it's a novella that is its own side story that really doesn't really affect the actual Game of Thrones lore.
That's true.
So I think that's one reason why
there's
I haven't.
Baratheons in it.
I know, but like, I mean, I'm not saying that there's not like the families. I'm just saying, like, that's a side story that doesn't affect the fact that, like, what happened with Daenerys and Jon Snow and everything.
Yeah. Okay. And for the record, there's no wrong answers.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm saying I think that's why my interest was not piqued at the time.
I hear you, but a year has passed. You're doing podcasts about Game of Thrones. I need you to watch that show because even though it makes absolutely no sense because it's been a year, I want to do a podcast about it.
Well, I'll do it.
And it's 30-minute episodes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, all right. So we cut over to the soldier that's in Hugh the Hammer's family's house, attacks Hugh the Hammer's sister. He tries to R-word her. Yes. And so during the whole situation, they get in the fight, and the sister-in-law, her brother's wife, attacks him, and he breaks her arm during the whole tussle.
Lucky she just got her arm broke, frankly.
Yeah. So then we cut over to Hugh showing up to Rhaenyra, and before he can even talk, Rhaenyra just like cuts him off and was like, I know, whenever there's a house ready for you, I'll get it for you. And he's like, no, that's not it. Send me to Tumbleton instead of off. And she's like, well, isn't your wife in Tumbleton? Like, basically, you got a conflict of interest. And he's like, well, yeah, but no one's going to protect them as fiercely as I can because, like, my loved ones are there. So it makes more sense. Like,
I agree with that.
I'm going to do a better job. And so,
don't you agree with that?
Yeah, no, I do. And so after that, we see Ulf in town. He sees on like a wall outside where someone had painted Queen of Bastards. And then he walks into the bar and he was like, he has returned.
Yeah, what up, mate?
I go, what up, mate? Like, he literally is just
Norm.
Like, yeah. Yeah. He's like, gang, I'm here. And so they're like, all right, well, you can pay for drinks since you're just like a dragon lord now. And he goes, everyone's? And they go, he's paying for everyone's drinks. And you can tell that he's like, crap, like my ass just wrote a check. I just wrote a check, my ass can't cash or whatever. And so, because he obviously doesn't have the money. And so then we cut over to, we're back in Tumbleton. Ormond's there. And the guard, the soldier that attacked the woman, he's brought to him to explain his side. And he starts telling him, like, basically, I can do whatever I want. Like, this is ridiculous. They attacked me. And so
I got into this to rate, man. Like, what are we doing here?
So he asks, like, okay, what's your name? And the guy's like, Garrick of, I think, High Tide or something.
Yeah, something like that.
And Ormond says, all right, Garrick of High Tide, you have violated guest right and that you're going to be gelded and your arm's going to be broken. And gelded means getting your PP
Okay, I was going to ask you that. I didn't know that because I thought that, but I was like, that means castrated.
No, you didn't want to break your arm. Like, that's not enough.
Yeah, but castrated is balls. So gelded is cut. And then when he said, I have a wife, sir, I was like, it must be the penis. But like, dude, I was a little bit surprised that Ormond did that.
Oh, well, but we end up saying in a second that he really actually didn't care.
Right. Yeah, for sure. It was all for show.
Yeah, but at the moment, I thought, okay,
that's what I'm saying. I'm saying in the moment, it didn't, for some stupid reason, it didn't strike me as like, he's got a grand plan for this.
I thought for a second, like, how like Alison kind of has that like air about her where she feels morally right about things.
Yes.
Well, then you have her brother getting mad that one of the King's Guard or whatever is raping that one woman.
Right.
So I was thinking, okay, the Hightowers just really like have high moral grounds then. Like I was thinking, okay, well, like he sees this as an innocent in the whole matter and like he's not cool with that. But we find out there's more to it. He's a very complex character.
Ormond?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I like him a lot, by the way. He's terrible.
Oh, well, yeah, he's necessary to the plot.
But I'm a big fan.
Yeah. So Rhaenyra is like, what is the deal with Ormond? Like, I need to see what all correspondence went about after Viserys died between the Hightowers and the Red Keep. And she's telling the Maester that at the Red Keep, and he was the Maester under the Greens. And she told him, like, hey, as long as you'll be loyal, like you can hang out in the council.
Dr. Dre?
Yeah, basically because she literally just like barely has a team going and she's just like finding pickups wherever she can find.
It's just piecemeal.
Yeah. So he's like, all right. And she's like, yeah, I mean, the High Septon didn't approve of me. And he's like, well, I mean, like, do you actually need that? Like, you got dragons and like you're here and like does it actually really matter?
Have you read the Constitution?
Yeah, and she's just like, well, I guess I could replace him. And he reminds her like, okay, if you do that though, if you get too technical, then that's going to make the faith mad. And then he said, which will like incite the faithful, like the highly religious people in town. And so it's kind of foreshadowing with the fact that there's a good chance she's going to replace the High Septon. And I mean, a couple episodes back when the High Septon told her like that dragons are an abomination, like that was just, there's a bunch of foreshadowing that there's going to be an issue with the faith and Rhaenyra.
And remember, there is no separation of church and state.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true.
And and to remind you, not only did they get into it about it, it was heated. Like, it was very heated. Like, it was so heated that if, like, you know, the Mad King had been on the throne, he would have lopped that sumbitch's head off there. Danny would have lopped that sumbitch's head off.
100%. So we cut over to Damon, and he's in the Vale talking to Jane Eyre.
The Vale.
Jane Eyre. Yeah, Jane Nahon. Is it Jane Eyre? No, that's a movie. That's a book.
That sounds like an airplane company that Roger from Mad Men would have bought.
What was their last names? It was Jane Eyre.
Jane Eyre, yeah.
Yes, the Aarons. Yeah, because they were like John Arryn. Game of Thrones.
The only apparently decent man in the entire universe.
Yeah, and we just only hear about him off screen. Like, there's
off screen, yeah.
But so he's over there. He's talking to her, and she's sitting up on her, like, you know, throne or whatever. And he's like, you know, we need some money. And she's just like, okay, well, y'all, like, you know, play a trick on me about the whole dragon sitch, about, you know, I thought I was getting like a big old dragon. And in reality, y'all gave me literally like nothing, like an egg.
Yeah.
Like, there was like nothing, like, y'all got me on a technicality. Like, it's not illegal, but you knew exactly what you were doing.
For the record, if I'm giving you a tree, I might plant one for you.
Yes, but they knew her intent meant that I needed immediate protection.
Exactly. It's a dick move.
So they took advantage of the fact that it really wasn't in writing.
They sure did.
So she's like, all right, well, you know what? Take your money. Whatever. And so he gets the money.
I mean, Damon even straight up says, by the way, one thing your money will get you is me leaving.
Yeah. And she's just like, all right, bet. So she gets the money, and he's got him in just like, you know, his saddlebags up on Craxes. So he gets on Craxes, and, you know, we've never in all the shows ever seen their own personal dragon be anything but 1,000,000% obedient to them. Right. So he gets up on Craxes, and Craxes starts like, just like just acting up, and he like kind of pops her like a dog, like heel.
He goes, serve me.
Yeah, serve me.
Serve me.
So Craxes is being a bad doggy, not listening to him, and he starts going the wrong way. And Damon's like, no, you're going the wrong way. Serve me, serve me. Well, he literally flies up and around, lands at a cave, and right when I saw it, it clicked with me. I was like, oh, he's found sheep stealer.
Oh yeah, dude, actually. And we might have talked about this in the instant reaction. I can't remember. It feels like years ago. But like when we were watching it, you clocked it immediately. Like his Craxy's wing just sort of, it was like he had dragon Bell's palsy or something. And as soon as he did that, you go, oh, he's flying wrong. Oh, he senses something. Sheep stealer's there. Like, all of that happened in like 0.5 seconds. And I was like, I didn't even think he was doing anything weird.
Yeah, no. Well, I knew right when he got on and he like kind of popped him, like, listen to me, but I'm like, that's not normal.
I'm just saying, it clocked with you before he even popped him. Like, it clocked with you before it clocked with Damon.
Yeah. So he shows up, and, you know, at the cave, he gets down, and all of a sudden they see it's sheep stealer and Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra comes out with her hair burnt off, and
all the way.
Yeah. Smooth off. Yeah. So, well, not smooth, jaggedy off for sure.
Yeah.
But
my comment was she looked like Obama right after he had to deal with the Benghazi debacle.
I saw it was like on Threads or something where you never watched How to Get Away with Murder.
No, of course I didn't.
Okay, well, it's got Viola Davis in it, you know.
Oh yeah, I love Viola.
And every episode it just shows her like she's like in her power suits and has her like good, like, you know, wigs and all this. And like at the end of the episode, like it always shows her without her wig on, and she takes her makeup off, and like her hair is just not in its natural state, not looking the best. And they were the like meme said like, why do they got Rhaenyra looking like Annalise Keating at the end of every episode? And it was like a side by side, and it's so true. Like literally, hold on.
Reminder, Corey, put this in the video episode. Hilarious.
I mean, literally.
That's fantastic.
All right. So he shows up at the cave, with Craxies, and they see Rhaenyra and Sheep Stealer. And she comes out with her hair burnt off, just like looking like Annalise Keaton.
Yeah.
And he's like, WTF? First of all, what you doing here? And how do you have a dragon?
Right.
And she's like...
He's also immediately, it starts washing over him that like...
Oh, God.
God, like...
My wife wants my daughter dead.
To die. Like, they've been looking for... The person they've been looking for is you. You have no idea the implications of this.
And so he's like, Rhaenyra believes Sheep Stealer and the Rider killed Jace. And she was like, I was just trying to help. And he was like, you swore to be my kid's guardian. And she was like, I mean, okay, but like, I just want to have a purpose. And, I'm like, basically, you don't love me as much as you love the other ones. And what's so funny to me is that, does she not realize, I made a note of this, does she not realize that whenever Rhaenyra's kids get to Pentos, because remember they were getting on a...
Do you think of beans every time you hear Pentos? Yeah.
But actually, that, and I think of Pinto-like car.
Yeah, right on.
But so she... she's supposed to go to Pentos with them, which if you watch the episode from last season, when she's walking with them to go to Pentos, and basically she's just on this trail beside the water, like it's an open trail, and she just decides to just veer right. And literally, there's no way they wouldn't have realized she was missing within like 5 minutes on their walk.
Right.
Like, it literally was just like, I'm walking down my driveway and I decide to like cut right into the hayfield.
Right.
Unless y'all are just had headphones in.
Right.
Like, you're
which they wouldn't have.
Yeah, that I'm missing. So don't you think that when they get to Pentos and she ain't with them, that they would send a raven and say, hey, we can't find Rhaenyra, who's supposed to be taking care of these kids?
Well, let's give them a little grace. As we all know, the McAllisters, a seemingly well put together family who makes a lot of money, forgot a child in France. So it can happen.
Yeah.
Also, remind me, and perhaps the audience too, because, it's a long time between seasons. A, how old was Jace when this happened? And B, how was it that he got killed? Exactly. I can't remember.
Well, that happened this season. It was just he got shot with the arrows.
Right. He got shot with the arrows. But how was it her fault?
Because she got Sheep Stealer to go help them, and Sheep Stealer started burning the wrong people.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
but him getting shot with arrows would have probably happened.
No, but Sheep Stealer attacked his dragon, and so...
That's right.
And then Higgin gets shot with that thing.
Yeah.
He's like, oh my God, like, what are we going to do? Like, Jane Eyre knows that you're here. Like, you're going to die. The most fatherly...
And so will Jane Eyre.
Yeah, and like, literally, the first time in 3 seasons where it even remotely seems like he actually cares that he has a kid.
And it really does seem like that.
Yeah,
like, it doesn't seem like he's posturing.
Here's an example of how much he like acts like he doesn't care. Season 1, whenever Otto shows up at...
She's taking a nap.
Dottie.
I woke her up.
So, season 1, whenever Otto shows up at Dragonstone, and it on Viserys's orders to get the egg back. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This was the second time. Otto shows up at Dragonstone. Rhaenyra's there with Damon. And Otto says, basically, I'll let y'all keep Dragonstone if you'll bend the knee to Aegon. And Damon literally says, I would rather throw my children in a fire than, and then he was like, I'd rather like burn my kids with dragon fire than bend a knee to that, see you next Tuesday. So like literally like parenting, it's just like how they say like being a good parent wasn't an actual term until like the 50s or 60s or something. Like basically the vibe with Damon. So he's like, oh crap, like,
And I feel like in royal society, it's probably just now a thing, even if it is,
I mean...
Like, I'm sure William is whatever the max you can be as a good dad. Well, Charles seems like he has a good relationship with his boys. I don't know.
Well, obviously not with Harry, because, the whole... megs it.
Yeah, right. But whatever. Like, those people really do. Like, the whole idea of them even calling them a spare is inherently just like, we don't really care. It's just, for the line.
Mm-hmm. So, well, a spare was made out of passion, where the heir is made out of duty.
Duty, right.
Duty.
Making us a duty child. We'll make them out of duty and then put it in the booty.
Yeah,
Duty booty.
so obviously, Damon's first thought goes to murder, because he looks down and he sees a shepherd with a sheep, and he gets the look.
The look of just like,
he gets the Matt Smith look of like,
I guess.
we could just murder that. You know what? That's convenient.
Let's kill that guy.
Let's kill him. No big deal.
He's also seen all this. So, I mean, he probably
so we're going to have to.
Yeah.
And so he decides, to kill him. Well, we don't know that at that moment, but it was obvious.
Well, it was, I mean.
Yeah, it was obvious.
You didn't have to write it in the script. Matt Smith is so good at acting dude, he's unbelievable.
But remember the scene when he gets the raven, whenever he is fighting with the sea snake, and he gets the raven, and the look, and he was just like,
dude, he's awesome.
Like, it's hilarious.
He's the best.
So we cut over to Ormond, and he he gets a raven from Harrenhal, and right when he gets the raven, Darren looks over at the little squire or whatever that gave him the raven, that gave him the little scroll or whatever. He looks at him, and he's like,
get out of here.
This is about to get bad. So all of a sudden, Ormond just flips.
Hilariously enough, he reads it. He takes it, he reads it.
And he's just like,
he politely sits it down, gathers himself.
I think takes a hit off his perfume.
His smelling salts, his sniffies. Then he stands up, starts screaming the C word.
Yes, he calls him a craven. See you next Tuesday.
Then he screams it he says it about 1 million times, then unsheathes his sword, starts chopping everything while screaming the C word, loses his mind, and then sits back down. And then what was it he said? And then he says.
So he flips out, and then very calmly, he pauses, looks over at Darren, and was like, your uncle says that your brother Amon hasn't returned.
It was comedy at its highest form. It was, to me, it was akin to the Clark Griswold freak out in Christmas Vacation.
Yes, it was.
Because
he's hitting his sword against the table. I mean,
and then he gathers himself because he remembers, like, I'm a royal person or whatever. And now that that's out of the way, I've gotten all that out of the way.
Yeah.
It was so, like, it's one of the most laugh out loud moments of television in this year, and it happened to come from Game of Thrones.
House of the Dragon. So
whatever, it's in the same world.
We cut over to Ulf. He shows up at court to see Rhaenyra.
Doty, I'm not editing that.
Please.
Okay.
So we cut over to Ulf. He shows up at court to see Rhaenyra. He's like, he's trying to speak more highborn than what was it? Cockney.
Yeah. He's speaking above his station.
Yes, he's trying to fit in, which before he really did not care.
No, at all. But now he's asking for a favor.
Yeah. And I think he all of a sudden realizes too that he's not going to just make jokes. Like, I think he wants to be respected.
Well, he does.
Before he only cared about the money. Now he cares about the money and being respected.
Absolutely. But also, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, him being with those dudes and seeing how they treated him at that bar, like, I'm not saying that it made him feel more than what he is, but, like, it gave him a little, like, you're right. I do have.
And also, I need to prove to y'all how I can do all these cool things.
Exactly.
By covering your tab and getting you not having to pay, one dude not having to pay his tax.
Very limited power in not only the world, but even in the stand-up world. But the stand-up world is the world where I have the most power. And, like, I got to tell you, when like one of my buddies is like telling me like, oh, I'm a huge fan of insert blah, blah, blah here. And I'm able to go, oh, you know that I know them. Or, hey, did you know we're represented by the same people? Anytime you want to go see them, let me know. And I'm able to pull that off for them. It's such a good feeling. And I would say it's 20%. I'm happy that I got to do something nice for my buddy, but it's 80% like, look at what I can do. Like look at what I can do.
Don't we always just want to be that guy?
Of course.
You know, everybody, like the guy that just handle things.
Of course. Everybody wants to be that guy. You just admit it.
So he tells her, he's like, I want to petition for your favors, and starts telling her he wants his peeps to be pardoned and them have houses. All this.
Immediately tries to get his boys to hook up.
She's like, okay, well, so like if you just got drunk in the bar, like, would you say this, whatever, to Hightower so you don't, get stabbed in the belly? And he was like, well, to be fair, it's my belly. And she's like, yeah, no, it's not. I own you. Like, and your dragon and all this, like, you're nothing without me. And so she's like, you're going to have to stay at the Red Keep. You can't drink anywhere. You literally are going to be here, and then you'll be escorted to the dragon pit back and forth. Like, that's it. And so...
And as much as that sucks for Ulf, because, again, this guy's never had anything. He loves getting drunk with his bros, but, like, good call on her part.
Yeah, well, and then he says, basically, and this is one of those, like, it's a threat, but he says it nicely, kind of like how Littlefinger would do. Where, like, if you think deeply, like, oh, he's threatening to me. He tells her that the city people detest her, and that they've painted words like that say, like, Queen of Bastards on the walls. And he basically says, I can't wait to tell them that they're wrong, and that basically that we have a good queen.
What, you took it as a threat?
Yeah, I took it as, hey, I know what people are saying about you, and I could make this worse for you. So you need to be nicer to me.
Interesting. That's obviously true. But what's funny is my comedic brain thinks of it different, because when I heard that, here's what I heard. He asked for a favor. She says no. And his immediate instinct was to go, they're talking shit about you, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he was mad. He was like, well, they're talking shit about you down there.
It might have been where he started with that, but then realized, wait.
I do have some power.
I wield power in this situation. Like, you need me more than I need you.
Right.
So.
But also, she could cut his head off right there and it'd be fine.
Yes, she could, but the dragon isn't a used Prius. Like, when they're with somebody, they're with somebody.
That is true.
Well, so that's why he's saying, like, you need me.
That's true. It's wild that he can be on that dragon.
Yeah, like, she can't just say, give the dragon a so-and-so to
That is true. And I love so much that that's a rule in that universe. Because, and see, again, if that rule was to be broken, wouldn't that piss you off? Like, that's a really good rule, an in-universe rule. Like, if all of a sudden somebody else was able to start...
That's why so many people are aggravated that Jon Snow rode a dragon in Game of Thrones. Because they're like, what? And they're like, oh, no, well, that was Dany's dragon. And Dany, obviously, it was good with Dany. So the dragon was like, I'll do it. And I'm like, that's not how it works.
Well, I might get some flack for this. Like, I assure you, don't get me wrong, I am a man in America. As much as I've tried to better myself, we are still inherently misogynistic because we grew up in a misogynistic culture. I'm trying to be better, but I am. But I promise you, this is not coming from a place of misogyny. But it pisses me off that Rey is just able to pick up a lightsaber and go toe-to-toe with Kylo Ren, who is a master of the Sith. Because it's been established that, wielding the Force in a lightsaber is something that you train for. And, they're...
and it's inherently in you.
Right. And, they end up explaining that, oh, yeah, she's Palpatine's granddaughter or whatever. But, A, we don't know that at the time. And B, they're like, oh, and Kylo Ren was injured. I don't give a shit. Kylo Ren is Darth Vader's grandson. And he's been training in the Force his entire life. And she was able to just pick up a lightsaber and go toe-to-toe with him. It's like, come on, dude. So yeah, you shouldn't be...
I need to watch all the Star Wars.
Can we have a day? Would you do a podcast with me about them all?
Yeah.
Let's fucking do that. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's do.
I'll do it.
Do you want to do you want to do them in order? Or
Yeah.
do you want to?
Well, yeah, whatever's like needed.
No,
I know
chronological order or order they came out.
Chronological. That makes more.
You think so?
Well, whatever makes more story in how the story flows makes more sense.
I think we should do them in the order they came out because that is
how the fans.
That's how the fans had to see it. And so I think that you should see it like that. Because I think that if you see it the other way, I think we should do it how they came out. That's my decision. Y'all let us know in the comments if you think it should go another way, but I think we should do it how they came out, personally. Now, when I rewatch, I do it in chronological Star Wars time, but I've already seen all of them.
Yeah.
So,
man, I'm gonna have to pick up more hours at work or change my hours situation, because if we're gonna keep adding these podcasts, I gotta clock in after we're done with this.
Well, we're just gonna have to spend some late nights or wake up earlier.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's true.
And by the way, your nap time, that's gone.
Yeah.
But, whatever.
True.
Go on with the actual podcast.
She orders the gold cloaks to clean it up and see who's doing the graffiti. And so all of a sudden now we're seeing Aegon. Woo!
Little puss action. A little puss action on the PG podcast.
So we see Aegon, and he's just literally being like, and he's in his own personal hell, because it's like he's filming an episode of Undercover Boss.
Undercover Boss.
Well, he's just like, they don't know who I am. Right. Like, seriously,
God, that would suck if you were just like, in every other world, I could get whatever I want.
Yeah. Yeah. And so obviously he's worked all day doing the pee and the poot, and he's like, all right, I need some food. And they're like, okay, yeah, tomorrow. And he's like,
what do you mean?
Yeah, what do you mean tomorrow? And so he crashes out. And so he yells at the Lord, and the Lord's like, you know what? I could kill you for all that, or you can kiss my feet.
Yeah.
And so Aegon's like, I'm not effing kissing your feet. And he's like, all right, well,
there's
it's no
sword,
consequence
bitch.
to me.
Yeah.
Like, I can kill you. You can do that. Well, then all of a sudden, he kisses his foot, and we cut over to Damon. He busts up in the council meeting with a skull, who is obviously the skull of the shepherd, throws it on the table, and he's like, here you go, Rhaenyra, like, that I killed the dude that rode sheep stealer, like.
So that's that. We're good.
Yes. She's like, I want to look upon the eye of the person that killed my son. And it's obvious that she's never going to actually do that because he's dead. So,
well, she can still look at his. Well, no, he gouged his eyes out, didn't he?
Yeah. And
why do you have to do that?
I know, and it's like also like, how are you not realizing that Damon's getting something out of this?
Yeah,
like,
right.
He would never just like let her not have her torture moment.
Right. You married him because he was a cunning shithead. He's not going to stop. Matter of fact, he's only going to get worse.
Yeah. And so Rhaenyra leaves. Miss Arya looks over at Damon and is like, well, whose head is that? In other words, like, you ain't got me fooled. Right. I know you're up to something. And
she's hot in a weird way.
Yeah. And Miss Arya, and not in a weird way, just a regular way.
Oh, wait. Yeah. She's not the red woman person.
No.
Yeah, Miss Arya is
the
hand
white
of
worm.
Yeah. No. She's just regular hot. You're right.
Yeah. So we see Rhaenyra telling Alison that she'll have her dad's remains sent to Old Town, and Rhaenyra's like, talking about Darren, she's like, I would have not killed, Darren. And she says, like, why was it hard for you to send your kid for someone, to ward or whatever? Was it hard for you? And so Alison says that she had, 3 Targaryens, and that she just wanted to have a high tower of her own. And right after that, Alison has a moment with Helena, and Helena's like robe kind of flaps in the wind or something. We see that Helena is obviously pregnant, that there's a moment between her and Alison where like her belly kind of shows and she covers herself
Helena?
up.
Okay.
Yeah. And Hugh shows up at Tumbleton, and after that, the gold cloaks are forcing people to clean the walls in King's Landing. They're beating and killing people. And we cut over to Ormond, and he's telling Darren that the Targaryens used black magic to create the dragons, and that, like, no offense, but like, the best part of you is the fact that you have Hightower blood, not Targaryen.
Right.
And so he tells them, like, you know, and we ruled everything until they created dragons. And I'm like, what are you talking about? We? Like, what do you mean? Then it clicks. Like, he starts talking about the seven. He sees the Hightowers as so morally high, and that they're, you know, from where the Citadel is, like, they represent the faith. Like, they're the true. And so he tells him, you're going to have to be king because you're really a Hightower.
Let me just say this, and you know me, I don't like religion. So, but with that being said, even if you are religious or whatever, if you live in a world and there is a group of people who can conjure, create, if you will, dragons, they get to rule the world. You know what I mean? Like, because in that scenario...
But the Targaryens weren't the ones that technically created dragons. In old Valyria, other families had dragons.
Yeah, right.
The Targaryens are just the ones that survived the doom.
I'm not going by... You're talking about real stuff. I'm talking about this dude's logic in his brain. Like, because if you're a godly person and you believe in God and you believe that God controls everything, then... how can there be something more powerful than God? And God is the person that creates life. So if there's something that creates life, they are gods. And if it is dragons, and if that's not good, then God could stop it.
It just clicked with me. It's not, I'm sure it's brought up in the books, but I don't really know technically what was going on in Westeros before Aegon the Conqueror conquered Westeros. And maybe it was the faith who was in charge of all of Westeros, and Ormond sees the Hightowers as the faith.
Right.
Because of the Citadel and all that. So did Aegon the Conqueror, like, conquer the faith?
Sure. And that's all it's coming from, is he don't really believe that it's the devil making these dragons. He's just like, they took our spot, therefore... they the devil. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you know what's funny is you'd think that, like, the Targaryens would have, like, changed the rules with the church then. Because, I mean, kind of like when, like, King Henry needed a divorce. So he was just like, oh, Catholicism is evil, even though that's what we've all been. Let me make this new church.
Yeah, and everybody was like,
yeah, and, like, obviously.
And now we're Protestants.
Yeah. And then it's like, if you think about, man, that's a whole other combo.
Right.
Yeah.
That I'd love to have. You want to do a podcast on it?
I don't know.
Okay. I was just joking. Okay. I have done one on it, obviously.
Yes. So he tells him, you're going to have to be king. And all of a sudden, he, like, looks over at the guards and he's like, you know, bring him in. Well, his guards bring in Hugh the Hammer's wife's brother, and
who we thought earlier in the episode had been taken care of from a legal standpoint from Ormond Hightower.
Yes, about the attempted rape of his sister. So
I'm listening. I'm just getting a Diet Coke.
So here, take this one. I just got this one out.
Oh, okay, sweet.
He tells his guards, like, he was like, bring him in. So Hugh's brother-in-law is brought in with the guards, and Darren's like, what? Like, I thought that, like, everything was good there. Woo! I was burped.
Edit?
Excuse me. Sure.
Nope.
I don't care. I mean, whatever. So he's like, I don't understand. You know, I thought everything was good. And so Ormond says, no, everything's not good. He attacked an agent of the crown, and you are the crown. So we can't put up with this. You know, like, I mean, his wife touched a Hightower man, whatever. So he's like, you're going to have to kill him. And Darren says, well, isn't, like, one of the, like, virtues of, like, that mercy can be a kingly virtue or whatever? And Ormond's like, yeah, that sounds like something your daddy used to say. I mean, literally. That's like how...
Puss ass. Yo, puss ass daddy.
Yeah. And so, I mean, literally, like, it's a moment like that, and Darren's just like, I mean, yeah, but I mean, okay, yeah, screw him, terrible. So he's like, you're going to have to kill him. So Darren very, hesitantly kills the dude. And then we see Otto's brother, bow.
Oh, they're brothers?
Yeah.
I thought it was like an uncle-nephew
Yeah,
situation.
no, because it's...
Otto's just so old.
Yeah, because
but
Alison is his niece.
His niece, yeah. I forgot, like, obviously back then, there was a lot of age discrepancy between kids.
And so after he kills him, he bows down to Darren, and that is showing that, I think that, like, I respect you now.
Right.
I respect you now. And because before that, like, he would say no, sire, and yes, sire to Ormond. And it's just like, which was nice, but like, he didn't have to. Like, literally, Ormond is not a monarch. Like, he is a prince.
Right.
And Ormond's not.
He carries himself.
Yeah.
Like,
but, there's like a weird power thing. And then we see Tessarian.
Sure.
I saw the subtitle.
I'm not gonna mention race here, but I'll say this:
Daeron and Tessarian.
lot of running back sounding names in the Game of Thrones universe.
Yeah.
A lot of cornerbacks and running back names in
very true.
And I love it for the record.
Yeah, well, Tessarian or Tessarion, whichever way, if you want to church it up.
Like, I still like
he burned them, and that was it.
It's still one of my favorite memes I've ever seen in my life is someone calling the sea snake Draymond Targaryen. That's the greatest thing I've ever seen. But yeah, that was the end of the episode, and I thought it was a well-rounded banger. It kind of had a little bit for everything, me and you, because like you're more of a battle-heavy episode person, and I'm more of a political intrigue episode. But there was plenty of violence. There was plenty of political intrigue. There was plenty of stabbing in the back, and also just a very funny episode. And as I continue to say this season, whatever the formula that Game of Thrones for television specifically had, where it was like, man, this is a brutal show, but also very funny. Like, no one ever did it before, nor will do it again, like The Sopranos, in the sense of like, when I went, like, it's rare that you meet someone that hasn't seen The Sopranos, but when I do pitch it to them, I usually say, guys, in my opinion, it's like 50-50 drama comedy. Like, it's that funny. Like, it is that funny. There are comedies, and I kind of put that in quotes. There are shows that are marketed as comedies that are on television right now that can't wash The Sopranos jock in terms of how funny that show is. And Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon isn't quite that, but for a show that is marketed as drama, it is supremely funny. And season 1 wasn't like that, but it was a really good season. Season 2, I wasn't the biggest fan of, and it wasn't funny at all. This season has gotten back to that special sauce. I think a lot of it has to do with A, the writing, but also B, just all the performers are just, and comedy's hard, man. Performing comedy is hard. Writing, it's one thing. Performing it is difficult. You ask any actor, they'll tell you, they're like, dude, comedy is, I can't remember which actress, like, on her deathbed, her final words were, dying is easy, comedy is hard. But Matt Smith is a great comedic actor. Of course, he couldn't have played Doctor Who if he didn't. And I still can't remember his name, but the guy who plays Ormond Hightower, John Taylor, I think, great comedic actor. So it's really hitting all the notes for me. I'm going to give this episode a 4.4 dragons. I really loved it. Setting up a lot of stuff, paid off a couple things. Really good shit. I like it. What about you?
A 4.2.
4.2? Right on. I enjoy that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. And even though you're about to, this episode is not over. This part of the episode is over. So stay tuned to hear our thoughts on episode 5.
Yes.
But I still would like to say this show is brought to you by CoreyWritesForYou.com. That is my Substack, which thank you to the 20 plus people over the past couple of days who upgraded their membership to a paid subscription, because I put out the plea to everyone. If I can double my subscribers, paid subscribers, that is, if I can double my paid subscribers between now and next year, within a calendar year, I can afford to live my dream, which is just to podcast and write for you pretty much full time. It's already almost a full time gig, but I obviously have to supplement it by going on the road occasionally and taking some video commission work that, like, don't get me wrong, I have fun. I love it, but it also takes time away from the writing and away from some of the podcast ideas I have, and away from home where I would rather be with my son. And I always say, if I'm making more on the Substack, I will be able to put more out on the Substack. So if you enjoy what I do on the Substack, you enjoy my journal entries, my short stories, which currently Here We Rest is on part 3. I'm currently writing part 4, and I've got a surprise special guest who is going to do the audio narration for part 4. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but it's a Southern Gothic crime mystery that everyone seems to enjoy. It got me all the way up, Kirby, I didn't tell you this, to number 2 on Substack's comedy list last week.
That's awesome.
It is awesome. I was up there with the likes of Garrison Keeler, Dave Barry, Como Bell. So people are really digging it, but I still need to double it so that I can justify doing it full time. And I want to do it full time. Now, this is a huge ask. If I could triple it, my wife would finally stop working shifts at the meat and 3, and I wouldn't need to use my mom as a babysitter so much. And then I could really write full time and bring you more stories and convince Kirby to do more podcasts with me, because if I was full time doing all that, that meant that there's certain days that I could podcast with Kirby that normally I couldn't podcast on those days. So does that make sense? And obviously, if I'm making more money, I'll throw Kirby more money.
Yes.
So you're really helping us both out. CoreyWritesForYou.com. And here is our episode 5. Enjoy. All right, let's watch our show, boy. You don't like it. Sit in your position. No. Dolores. Poor Dolores. What's the episode called?
Unbowed and Unbent.
Okay, because I'm going to throw it to you like I did. Okay, everybody, welcome back to part 2 of this megasode. I am Lord Corey, and as always, Little House of the Dragon is brought to you by CoreyWritesForYou.com. That's my Substack. You should subscribe, shouldn't they?
Yes, 100%.
And I am joined, as always, by
Lady Kirby.
And this episode is called
Cut. How do I just all of a sudden forget it when I just said it?
Well, because it's it's what time is it? It's 6:14, and we started this process at. Hold on, let me just. We'll show people how the sausage is made. You called me at 10:46 and said, "Hey, I can record today if you want to," and we've been actively doing that since then. There've obviously been little breaks to take care of kids and rewatch episodes and take notes and stuff, but and for the record, it's not coal mining, but we have put in a full day of work so far. It's been on a nice, lovely couch, and it's been doing stuff that we love. And we've been
It's tiring thinking a lot.
Thinking's hard.
Yeah.
Thinking is hard. Thinking's very difficult. So you've put in a full day's work. That's what it is. And you haven't done that. And how old are you? What? I'm just saying. It's tiring. I'm just kidding. But it's fine for you to be tired. I'm just saying we've worked for 7 hours. That's why you're tired. It's also 6:15. Most people start getting tired at 6:15. You're getting old. You're an elderly woman. You've had a child. You're probably going through the change,
Yeah. Not menopause yet, but the perimenopause.
Yeah, what is that, by the
I
way?
don't know.
Because that's new. That's a new one that I'm just now.
Yeah.
It's a conversation
It's
at our
basically
home.
just your premenopause.
But isn't everybody?
Hold on. When people said premenopause, were they just not saying perimenopause, right? Perimenopause instead of pre?
Perimenopause. That's French menopause.
Okay.
No, that's not true. I just said that. Also, because like when Dad got diagnosed with, they're like, you're pre-diabetic. I'm like, isn't everybody?
There's a range that's like pre-diabetic.
You're right on the cusp. But interestingly enough, I'm not. And like I've got all sorts of other problems. Like I've got really bad cholesterol problems and I was overweight. So like when I went in, I was fully expecting them to be like, yeah, you're pre-diabetic, especially because Dad is. And like I'm not. So like that one I don't understand. But yeah, you've definitely got perimenopause, sure. Even though I don't know what that is.
I've got pre-diabetes. That's why, and my insurance won't cover a GLP-1. So if like, I don't know, hers.com or something wants to holler at your girl and get me on a GLP-1.
Roe would be a good sponsor. For the record, we're this show will eventually be over because it's limited to this show. So again, you're going to have to consider doing a full-time podcast with me. And I'll tell you what, the next podcast we do, we can make it our goal to get Roe or him and hers as the main sponsor, just specifically to get you that medication. Like because I found in my life as a straight white man that when you just set a goal, it happens a lot. Just seems to work out,
Yes.
So either we can do that or you can go be a straight white man, whichever is easiest for you. I would say podcast.
Probably so.
So what's this episode called?
Well, I was doing that and you wouldn't, and you stopped me.
I know. It's comedy.
This episode 5 is called Unbowed and Unbent.
Tell me about it.
Okay, so
look at Dottie.
Oh, she's getting kind of the couch zoomy she gets.
Yeah.
All right, so Kristen Cole and old Gawain are Gawain, yeah. They're leading the Greens, Kristen Cole's peeps, through the Riverlands, but they keep getting like hit by the Starks, and so what are you doing?
I was filming Dottie. I was thinking I might overlayer in the podcast so everybody can see the zoomies.
Look over here, Dottie.
She's so cute.
That's a sweet girl.
We're a family podcast, and Dottie's part of the family.
Yeah, you sweet girl. Okay. Then we're back in King's Landing, and Damon hollers at the gold cloaks and gives them like a passionate like speech to, boost morale or whatever. And unfortunately, the effects don't last long because Ormond starts killing gold cloaks, and it's all to get like the gold cloaks to like turn.
Yeah, and not only killing them, but like disemboweling them in the streets as to send a message. Like it'd be one thing if he was just like slitting their throats and stuff, but like they were laid stinking in the streets to send a message like, hey, this is what happens if you're loyal to the queen. So like maybe don't do that, which creates unrest in the city, which is not what you want in wartime.
No, not at all. We have Alison and Helena. Alison starts telling Helena that, the maester walks in with a tea.
Did we realize she was pregnant in the last episode?
Yeah, the last episode, there's like a hint at it when Alison looks at her belly or whatever. And Helena, and she's telling her like, I got you some moon tea. I need you to drink it. And Helena's like, no, I won't do that to my baby. And so Alison's trying to like explain to her like, your baby will get killed and stuff. So it's better just to go ahead and just like get rid of it now and all this. And then.
Which is all true.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all true. But Massaria comes in And she like basically tells her like he's my maester now, and I know that he sent tea over here. And so Alison initially lies and says it's for headaches, and she's like, well, she's over there sleeping, so obviously that's not what it is. And then she admits like, the moon tea was for me because after Viserys died, I slept around.
Been getting some strange.
Yeah. And so she drinks the moon tea to prove it, all because, the whole thing was that she knew, like, I have to do this because if they know at all that Helena is pregnant, like,
they'll gut it.
Yeah. And and we talked about in the episode before about like what makes like a good mother when it comes to that. That's an example of Alison. But when it comes to Helena, like, good mom.
I'm also very interested now in like what exactly moon tea is because, it's obviously a Plan B pill. It's their version of a Plan B pill, which I am, and you can answer this or you cannot. Have you ever taken a Plan B pill?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What did it make you feel like, if anything?
It can mess up your like cycle, like your period.
Right.
But like it doesn't actually make you feel like anything. There's no like physical side effects besides like your like period being like skipped or like started early or messed up.
Okay. The only reason I ask is like,
well, because it's not an abortion pill.
I know that.
See, the moon tea, yeah. Okay, the moon tea's Plan B too.
No, that's what I'm saying. I understand it's not an abortion pill, but my point is like, it's clearly not a one of one because in this world, she says, oh, the moon tea was just for a headache. So like it could also double as a pain reliever.
No, she said that before Mysaria sniffed it, and Mysaria used to be a prostitute, so she knows exactly how moon tea smells.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Right on. Mm-hmm. My bad. I misread the situation.
Mm-hmm. As per usual.
I don't know anything about women.
Yeah. Meanwhile, at Harrenhal, Amon is recovering from his injuries, and he's just seems like a little kid having nightmares. And he realizes that Vagar has disappeared.
Just stayed disappearing.
And at first he's like, there's no way, And so then he ends up like having this like loving scene with Alice Rivers. It's like he's loving on, like she was the mother and like loving on him. And we see him so like not acting tough.
Right.
So I feel like before he would have like faked being tough, even if like he wasn't tough. Like now he's like cowered down. All right. So Amon is at Harrenhal.
Hey, before you start that, can you please tell everyone the Mickey Mouse story that you were telling me between episodes, please? I know it doesn't have anything to do with this podcast, but like, if I had thought of it, I would have made a video about it or done it as a bit on stage, but you're not a comedian, so it'll just die in the ether, and I really enjoyed it. So will you please just tell everyone the Mickey Mouse story that you told me?
All right. So I started the story by saying that this is an alternate reality where like the like really, really far right groups that like boycott Disney, let's say that like they got such a following that their boycott like closed Disney World down. And at first I thought like ultra right people, but now I'm like, no, this is funnier. It's a animal rights group about animal labor.
Could just be all of them coming together, unifying as one.
Yeah, but like the animal rights groups, that's what's funny is that they want to shut it down because of the animal labor. Well, it gets shut down. Well, the animals needed that labor.
Right.
So basically, you got this alternate universe, and it's very grim. And it reminds me of like, if you've seen Trolls.
The movie?
Yeah.
No.
Trolls.
I'm sure Bane would like it.
Bergen Town or whatever.
Is it actually good?
Yeah, no, it's really good.
Okay.
Yeah, Bergen Town is like blah, 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 like just like gray and green and just like So, this is basically kind of the same vibe of where like all the Mickey Mouse characters are living because Disney World's shut down. They have these skills, but they don't translate to like the real world, you know? And so you got like freaking Mickey Mouse is just trying to make ends meet. He's basically in like a mouse fight, cat and mouse fight club.
Put up your dukes. See?
Yeah. And so, and Donald Duck is like gamble, like they throw fights, obviously.
Right. Yeah, of course.
And Donald Duck is in on this. And so he like, you know, does the bets or whatever because he's got a gambling addiction. And his day job, he's in blackface as a stunt double for Daffy Duck. Meanwhile, Daisy Duck is just living. They're living in like a sewer plant. Like, you know how like you go by a plant and there's like all these ducks. Like they're living in like it's basically like a shanty town, a Hooverville, if you must.
Yeah.
And so she's just having to turn tricks.
Yeah.
To make ends meet. And that's just the world that's happening.
I love that so much. Pitch it to somebody. Daisy Duck being a lot lizard is tremendous.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of lot lizards, when we were coming back from Branson, Missouri, there was a gas station called the Munch and Pump.
Mm-hmm.
The Munch and Pump.
Heard.
Is that not the most disgusting name of a gas station you've ever heard in your life?
Yeah. But, you know, like a lot of just like industries have decided to stop even just like sugarcoating it or, you know, churching it up. Just like liquor stores, like it's just liquor.
Yeah, right. No, I
Even
hear
though,
you on that.
Though, like around here now that like Walker County got its like liquor sitch, that now like there's like names, like there's like Cannonball Liquor.
Yeah, they have to,
like,
but they
like
bouge
that.
it up now.
Yeah, like now, like it literally is like.
Yeah, because
It's
you
not
have to
just
compete
liquor.
now.
Yeah.
Used to, there was only one, so it would just be ABC Liquor. And I'm pretty sure that I heard back in the day, the reason that they would be, like they asked one guy, they're like, why aren't you just called ABC Liquor? And he's like, it shows up first in the phone book. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, that's nice. Anyways, back to House of the Dragon. I'm sorry. I just wanted video recording of you telling that story because I couldn't let it just die because that really did it for me.
Goofy's at like the dog races.
Yeah.
Like in Panama City, you know, the dog races.
Well, gosh, it's either
which I
this
think
or...
they don't have that anymore, the dog. Like
They don't?
Yeah, like the little greyhound dogs or whatever.
Was good.
So like he's just like having to be one of those.
Yeah. Gosh, it's either this or getting my butt fucked.
Or he has to be like a CNI dog. And his like language is so like behind because he's obviously like not smart. And so like
and from the 40s.
And like the type of CNI dog he is, it's not like a leads you through a path. It's a CNI dog like, okay, well, right up here is this fat guy and he's wearing a green shirt. Like he's like the CNI dog. Like he tells you what he sees with his eyes.
Oh God, that's tremendous. All right, I love you for that. Now the show.
What show? I'm just playing. Amon's tripping balls in Harrenhal, and he is telling Alice that he's worshipped.
Her name's Alice?
Alice Rivers.
I ask you this every time because that's just such a common name.
But it's spelled ALYS.
Yeah, no, I know. But
Helena's not an uncommon name.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Damon.
I guess you're right. Like, but it's just that for her specifically, she's so mystical and wild. Mm-hmm. Like in that scene specifically, like her, like I in my brain, because I can't remember her name, I call her New Red Woman. Mm-hmm. And I had written here in my notes that Amon and New Red Woman are really giving Stannis an Old Red Woman.
Oh, yeah.
Like in their relationship, she's really like laying it onto him thick. Like, you know, you're the one or whatever.
Yeah.
And she's sort of like seducing him with her, but she hasn't shown. Maybe I'm just making all this up that she's a red woman because she ain't showed no powers. She ain't birthed no shadow or nothing.
Yeah, so she hadn't birthed a shadow. Thank God.
She hasn't. Thank God.
I'm watching Game of Thrones right now with Lloyd. He's finally watching Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And when that scene happened where she just had like the demon baby situation, Lloyd was like, this is stupid. I don't even know why I'm watching this. I'm like, well, it's like he
first
couldn't
off,
get
it's
over,
not stupid.
Well, he couldn't get over like that would never happen. I'm like, I know.
Of course. Yeah. There's witchcraft. Hey, people actually putting on airs, people do know who Thomas is because I talk about Thomas a lot and Thomas will listen to this independently. Like I didn't mention that Lloyd was watching it. Thomas texted me yesterday and was like, man, after years of listening to you talk about it, I finally started Game of Thrones. He goes, dude, I started it yesterday and I'm already done with season 1. He goes, this show fucking rips. He said, when that piece of shit got that gold poured over his head, he goes, I was punching the ceiling, dude. It was so awesome. So something's in the air with just good old boys finally getting into Game of Thrones.
Yes. No, I'm very satisfied that he finally.
Yeah.
No, it's.
Yeah. Turns out 50 million people were correct.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So he has been having like fever dreams and stuff. And I mean, it's obvious that like Alice has been like influencing his dreams and stuff. Cause she did that to Damon when Damon was at Harrenhal. And and this is very similar to whenever Damon like couldn't be reached. And it was like because he was just tripping balls at Harrenhal. And Amon, it's the exact same thing, except people don't realize that Damon is at Harrenhal.
Right.
Because they think he fled. They didn't think that he was just prisoner to like a witch, which given I wouldn't have thought that either.
No, it's not where my mind would have went.
Yeah. So we have that situation where he's like snuggled. It reminded me of like when he was in the whorehouse in Flea Bottom. Remember that one prostitute that he would cuddle with? It was like a maternal thing. Yeah.
Is that an Oedipus complex? I think.
I don't know.
I think it is.
Mommy issues. For
I
sure.
I think that's Oedipus.
Yeah. And so Aegon is growing.
Hold on. Or you just like to lay on some fat titties. That could also be something.
Yeah, for sure. So Aegon is just getting antsy, and Larys.
Strongfoot.
Yeah, he encourages them like, let's escape King's Landing and survive rather than be just like a pawn in the war. And they're talking and everything. All of a sudden, Tyland Lannister, who was presumed dead, returns. And
he got a pop from us. We were like, what's up?
Yeah. And so he is like, hey, guys, the royal treasury, like, I've got it like hidden away or whatever. And
those Lannisters, son.
Yeah. So it's, it's going to give them like, they're needing money. It's going to give them money to like fight. And so we get to, I'm trying to think if the Alison and Helena part of them going through the wall, if that was the last scene.
I can't remember, but before we leave.
Well, I mean, Damon talks obviously to the gold cloaks, and about like, we're going to find out who did this. And they torture that one dude and that was an assassin.
Yeah.
And he sees the coin and he's like, yeah, they said it was like King Darren.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh gosh. So he goes and talks to Rhaenyra about it. He's like, I mean, we got a problem here. Like, now Darren's saying that he's king.
Right.
And Rhaenyra just gives him this look of like,
who the is Darren?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean?
And it shows her.
That sort of reminded me of like in the last episode of Game of Thrones when that Tully dude like puts his name forth for being king and everybody's like, what the are you talking about? By the way, before we leave this scene of Larys and Fried Egg talking to Lannister, who is Tyland, we skipped over, I think, an important scene, or at least one that needs to be talked about, which is Larys and Amon, correct. By the way, I need to say this. This show is an absolute bitch to take notes for on your phone.
Yeah, I think that's what's happening. I can't read my notes because autocorrect changes their names.
Autocorrect, yeah, and like it's the thing is, like, you want to be able to take notes during the episode, but also pay attention to the show.
Yes, it's
which
hard.
is difficult already. And then when it's like, dude, like you're the autocorrect, and
I've gotten confused already because my phone is getting messed up with Darren and Damon.
Right, which I realize this is an us problem, but we're trying to do it on the fly. But anyways, I thought was an important scene. Like, you know, Aegon, Aegon, regardless of the fact that he is, again, completely fried egg, regardless.
Yeah, he's got a butthole for an ear now.
He has a complete butthole for an ear. He got a bad case of butthole ear, probably the worst case of butthole ear I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And he's not on the throne, but has still acted as if he ought be, and like has real self-entitlement bullshit, and has really been.
Yeah, because that's just not, you don't just get rid of that.
Of course you don't. Of course you don't. That's
but
been his
it just
whole.
shows how stupid he is that he can't just fake it for his own safety
to survive, right?
Yes.
And Larys has sort of just entertained him throughout all this, like, oh, that's just how he is. But finally, Larys grew some balls and just told that motherfucker what's what. Like, he gave him a come to Jesus speech. He told him, like,
you're dumb and you're the worst king ever and the meanest.
All you do is self-flagellate, like you're an idiot.
Flatulate?
At first, I thought.
Like, does that mean like gas yourself up?
Yeah. At first, I forgot what flagellate means. Flagellate is like when you hurt yourself. Yeah. I thought it was jerk yourself off. That was self-ejaculate, but like flagellate is like when you whip yourself and stuff. Basically saying is like you feel sorry for yourself, you punish yourself or whatever. And that was an out of character moment for Larys, but it was like he was at his breaking point where he was like, hey, my whole deal is to serve you, right? But I no longer can do that as a sycophant because it is me just agreeing with you and going along with everything is harming you because you have bad ideas. Like, you're an idiot. You don't know how to live in this world. I do, for the record. And I mean, not that Larys grew up poor or whatever, but he's not a royal. So he knows how the regular world works. And he's like, you're going to have to listen to me, dude. You're a moron. And I thought that was a really good scene, and Strongfoot needed to be commended for it. So I didn't want us to pass that over. Anyways, back to your notes.
No, I mean, you're good. Because, I mean, it was like.
Also, did we skip over Damon making fun of the queen for praying? Because I thought that was
so funny.
I thought that was hilarious.
He literally just laughs at it.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious.
She's like, I mean, they want to see me like this.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Dude, I know it's hilarious. Like, don't take it serious. This is for appearances.
But he was just like, quit fronting, bitch. Like, you don't.
Yes. So
we need to, the next time we're doing this, we should collaborate on the notes. That way we can see what each other has done.
That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, you do. See, you can like articulate your notes better than I can.
Well, because I don't do. But here, you know what it is.
I was never a good note taker.
No, but here's the deal. You're the play caller. I'm the color man. Like, I'm not making notes of this happened, this hasn't. I'm making notes of like the tiny little minutia things or whatever.
Minute.
Yeah, like something is minute, but the minutia is the minutia of the situation, the small details.
The minute details?
Yeah, and it's all lost in the minutia. Look up minutia on your phone right now. Just say, hey Siri, what's minutia?
It ain't gonna understand me. Hold on, let's see. Hey Siri, what's minutia? Minutia refers to the small, often trivial details or particulars of a subject. I heard. Good job. Is minutia part of minute? Can't tell. Well, no, minutia is a word meaning. Okay, no, that just in my head, it sounded like minute, and that's a word I knew. So I was like, minute.
But no, they are similar. Like, listen, I'm a dumbass, but I do write for a living, so I be in the dictionary and thesaurus a lot. But like, my brain immediately goes to the minutia. And like, I think more about what's going on in the character's head more so than like what is being said.
Yeah.
So our notes look very different.
Yes, for sure. For sure. Yours are more thoughts, mine are more vibes, maybe, or the opposite.
I think the opposite. Mine are more vibes. Yeah. Like, but it's good. We need yours because obviously I know what happened. We all need to know what happened in it, but I want to talk about the specific, this is what that meant.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know.
What do you mean? Oh, here's another thing from this specific episode that I want to point out that HBO needs to do better from. How have they not figured out? Because I don't know how everybody is. And there's a million reasons aside from being deaf that one would use closed captioning on television. A million other reasons. Like, for instance, to hear my wife tell it, my hearing is not good. But
I started when I first started at Peaky Blinders.
Well, there's that reason. Like, not just that they're like, you could be speaking the same language, but if you've got a different dialect, that it's harder for you to pick up on some stuff. Like, a lot of times when I'm watching Ricky, now it's everything. Used to, I had a rule that was everything except comedy, because in comedy, sometimes it gives away the joke. For instance, back when I don't do it I still do it kind of. Like, everyone I know uses auto caption features because it saves so much time.
Oh, auto caption would mess up trying to listen to what I was saying.
What do you mean?
Like, I feel like just like how Siri doesn't understand me a lot of times.
Oh, yeah, but you can edit auto captions. Like, you always have to edit.
This isn't in like a live.
No. But what I'm saying is, like, my point being is that, like, I use auto captions, and a lot of people do, but if the video I'm putting out is a comedy video, I will go through there and make sure that it captions it, the timing is right. Because if you don't do that, like if you're watching a comedy and the captions are on, the joke will be ruined because you can read it before the actor. Like, it doesn't take into consideration the comedic pause. Like a lot of times there's a necessary pause before you hear the next thing in order to make you laugh. But if you have the captions on, you will already see the word and you will fill it in, right? So if you do auto captions, you got to then go on there and put ... and make the word land as soon as you say it. You understand? But in this, so we have captions on. Point is, when you have a kid, you have to have captions on because kids make noises. So you would either have to be rewinding every 5 seconds because you didn't hear something, or you can have captions on. So when they're being loud, you can just read it. But in this show, when you've got the captions on and then they start speaking High Valyrian, a caption will come on that says they start speaking High Valyrian, but that caption will cover up the caption that they have of what they're saying in High Valyrian. So you miss the first sentence of what they're saying in High Valyrian. And by the way, whilst putting that note down, it finally crystallized with me why Amber is unable to get into this show, even though she was huge into Game of Thrones. And would you like to hear my theory?
Why?
I cannot tell you how many times I have had to say this to Amber. Amber, television is a visual medium. Yes, it has audio and stuff, but it's a visual medium for a reason. If they didn't care if you watched it with your eyes, they would just put it out as a radio play. Like when we're watching a movie and there's a flashback or whatever, and it says on the screen 3 months earlier, I have to say out loud, this is 3 months earlier, because Amber will be doing a puzzle or doing something like that. So she just mainly listens to it, right? So if you're doing that, and you're watching this show,
you're going to miss stuff.
You're going to miss so much stuff because once they start speaking in High Valyrian, she's not going to see it. You know what I'm saying? Which, by the way, it's totally fine that she doesn't watch the show or get into it. But like, I've told her that a million times. Like, I first noticed it when I can't remember what movie. It's like a Christopher Nolan movie or whatever. And like, he famously makes movies that are not in chronological order. And she would just look up and be like, what's going on? I was like, baby, this is 40 years in the future. She's like, when did that happen? I was like, there was a whole screen of text was set up. And she's like, well, I was doing this. And I was like, well, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? By the way, then we also had Amon got over his whatever sickness he was having from his fever dreams.
Yeah.
Because he whooped the absolute shit out of who were those people that were coming to get him?
They were sellswords.
Sellswords,
They were just being paid to like get him or whatever. And
how'd they know where he was at?
Well, I'm assuming it's because, I'm assuming maybe they looked other places too, but weren't they probably hired by like Ormond because of the whole, like, he's supposed to marry that Baratheon girl.
Oh,
so
yeah,
he
probably
needs to like hurry on back or whatever. So they start attacking Alice, and Amon comes out of nowhere and like has her back and like slays all.
Yeah, here's another way in which, and I'll preface it by saying, when I say back in those days, obviously we know this isn't a real time.
The medieval days that
the
they're
medieval
supposed
days,
to represent if the medieval days were.
I know people get annoyed when I constantly say that, but the moment that I don't, there will be a comment that's like, what do you mean back in those days? This isn't real. But the one thing that's always been interesting to me is that like how different rich kids are now versus how they are then. Because like back then, a rich kid would whoop your ass because they were like trained, you know what I mean, in swords and stuff. Don't get me wrong, they were still pussies, but they were pussies in completely different ways.
Yeah.
Like rich royal kids were absolute bitches. Like if you didn't give them enough caviar, they'd pitch a fit. But they could totally take on 3 people from Flea Bottom by themselves because they knew how to wield 2 swords at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
So anyways, where are we now?
So let's see. And obviously she uses like her magic to like, they had like bats, they flew out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like she used her magic for that. And then right after that, she looks over at Amon. She's like, well, you healed up pretty quick. Because he was like sickly like 2, seconds before. So
don't you think that's you healed up pretty quick is sort of her being like, I've released you from whatever I put you under?
Yeah. Well, and he goes and snuggles up with Alice, and he tells her about like Helena's prediction that he's going to die, and he's like treating Alice like his mother, which, by the way, LOL, finally someone is listening to Helena. This is the first time someone's acknowledged that Helena has predictions.
Right.
They've literally just like chalked it up to her saying dumb stuff every time. Well, and maybe Amon's known this whole time, and he's just like kept his mouth shut, which, I don't know, but he's crying in Alice's lap saying like, I want my mother, like I'm going to die, And okay, so Damon finds his gold cloaks dead, and they're all like eating, like celebrating, and he comes and sees them. They had been eating. They're dead. It looks like their eyes have been gouged out. All of them are lined up. And there's a sign above it that's written in their blood that says, a feast for traitors. So, sounds like Ormond has spies everywhere and literally can just get things done in the most secret fashion ever.
Without question. Fade to black. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Pretty baller episode.
Oh, no.
That wasn't.
We got to talk about how Helena.
No, I just meant that was the end of the episode.
Oh, well, I meant to say this before Helena, but I meant to say before the episode was over, there was a scene where Helena and Alison try to escape.
Yeah.
They go through like a secret passageway. And this is all the while Damon's looking for the gold cloaks or whatever.
Yeah.
They go through that secret passageway, realize it's a dead end, and that they had closed the door behind them. And then something happens.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was, but Hot Homie shows up.
Yes. And
what's her name? Millicent. Melandria? You're the one that keeps telling me.
Missaria.
Missaria.
Yes, Missaria. But she caught them before they did that.
Right. Yeah.
They didn't get caught. They're stuck.
Yeah, right. They had like anticipated that, I suppose.
Yeah. And then we got old Damon with the gold cloaks. And then
hold on just a second. Let me throw this in here. Edit. I just scratched my balls and I realized that I may have pulled a testicle out, so I need to check that. Go ahead.
Cut to black. I mean, that after that, like with the gold cloaks.
So
like
you got to start over because of what I just did. Sorry.
Like start over, like with the tunnel.
Yeah.
Okay. So right before the whole gold cloak situation happened, Alison and Helena are in the bedroom, and Alison tells Helena to lay down. Well, Helena notices that her flame is like flickering by the wall, like where there's obviously like wind. So they discover that there's a secret door, and they're like, oh my God, we're going to escape, and they go through and they realize that it is a dead end, and they turn around just to realize that the other door that they came from was closed. So they were locked in there.
Right.
Yeah. So, and then I think she dropped her lantern, and I don't know if something happened after, if the scream was because of that or if the scream was because they saw somebody. I'm not sure. So, and then, Damon finds his gold cloaks. They're massacred, and it says a feast for traitors.
But more importantly, in that scene with Alison and Helena and Missaria, Alison puts on her political hat and is like, hey, you can go tell on us. That's true. But nothing's really going to happen for you if you do that. Mm-hmm. But if you don't tell on us and the tides turn and the high towers win, which, by the way, I don't know if you've heard the latest news. I mean,
looking pretty good.
I mean, I'm not saying that we've completely got this, but like, it's not looking bad. If you don't, all you've got to do is nothing. Like literally all you have to do. I'm not even asking you to do anything. Matter of fact, I'm asking you to do nothing. If you do nothing, then you will have just curried favor with the reigning Queen Regent. And don't you think that would go a lot longer for you than telling on someone who, again, is, yes, prisoner. It's true that I'm prisoner of the Queen. However, and you know this, the Queen and I were best friends, and currently she kind of feels really bad for what she did for me. Now, I'm not saying that like that means she'd let me get away with doing some fuck shit, but like she feels really bad for what she did for me. This is going to you gain nothing from this.
Yeah.
But you would gain potentially everything by just, and again, I can't stress this enough, you don't have to do anything except for keep your goddamn mouth shut. So Alison, very smart move right there. And that was the episode. I thought it was fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and give that one about a 4.6. About a 4.6.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
It was better than the last one.
Yeah.
This, and I keep saying it, this season rips. I think this might be the best. This is, it depending on how it ends, it's definitely better than season 2. It's as good as season 1 to me. The only reason to me it's not 100% as good as season 1 is because my boy Viserys ain't in it, and I really love that actor.
Yeah, I know.
Why
he's great.
Can't I think of his name off the top of my head? I don't know why.
Patty
Constantine. Patty Constantine. He's tremendous. I love him in everything he's ever done. I just think he's lovely. But that's the only reason that this season might not ever be as good as season 1. But I'll tell you this, I'm more entertained by this season because it's been more humorous.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And they've
Ormond has been such a nice addition.
Ormond, and I just can't wait until we get, you know how we pined for years for the battle of like the Mountain versus the Hound. I'm really looking forward to Damon versus Ormond.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to a meeting of those two dudes. Well, that's been the show. This was the Megasode. We really hope that it was good enough for you to forgive us for not having the episode out on time. And I got to tell you, I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. And I hope it doesn't make a lot of people mad. Me and Kirby were just talking about it. And logistically, we think that we were dumb to even think it was possible to do it. We probably will not be doing any more instant reactions. We're two adults and it's Sunday night and we both have kids and
and school's about to start back.
School's about to start back. And again, it'd be one thing if we were making money on this podcast and we had assistants and stuff, but we don't. And don't get me wrong, we love doing it, but it's all headache and no reward. It's a bummer. But we definitely can't be consistent with it. And one thing for me is if we can't be consistent, there's no reason in doing it. So, and that's why we wanted to make this an extra special episode as our way of saying sorry. Hope you enjoyed it. And as always, this entire program, the only sponsor that we do have is CoreyWritesForYou.com. So if you enjoy this show, if it brings value to your life, throw me $5 a month at CoreyWritesForYou.com. But don't worry, if you can't afford $5 a month, you can still enjoy every single thing that I do over there completely for free. The paywall is merely optional. You can read, listen, and enjoy every single thing that I do for free if you can't afford the $5. But I do ask that if you can afford the $5, and what I do brings value to your life, please pay it, because it's important to support people who are working and making things for you if you can afford it. And you can pay for someone who can't. So CoreyWritesForYou.com. Kirby, anything to promote?
Good vibes.
Good vibes. All right. Stay fancy, y'all. Hey, I'm late to the game on telling y'all this because they didn't tell me when it was going to drop, but if you happen to be a member of the Dollop Patreon, I say Patreon because that's where it is right now. It will eventually be on the main feed. I am the new host of the latest Dollop spinoff, the Dollop Hollywood Hellscapes. And you can listen to the first 5 episodes on the Dollop's Patreon. I'd rather you subscribe to Substack first and then subscribe to the Dollop's Patreon. I think they would understand why I say that. But hey, do both, or just wait till it hits the main feed. But I'm very proud of that. As my sister knows, it's been a dream of mine for years to work with the Dollop guys. Didn't know it was going to come in the way of me actually getting my own show, but that's what's happened. So stay fancy, motherfuckers. Love you. Bye.
Hey, everybody. If you haven't been here long enough and you just don't want to take your headphones out, here is me reading Here We Rest Part 3 from CoreyWritesForYou.com. Hope you enjoy. The phone went dead and the silence almost blew my eardrums out. I'm tripping. I have to be. You know, I've always heard that acid flashbacks were a real thing, and if that's true, well, I'm long overdue. Time has always fascinated me. You know, I'm not an educated man, but I know everything there is to know about Einstein's theory of relativity. Well, maybe not everything, but certainly more than most people who learned about it while geeked out thumbing through old textbooks from the thrift store. Relative to them, I'm a genius. When I'm low on money, I go to the thrift store or the used bookstore. It's the only place nowadays where a man can walk in with $20 and feel like he's the king of somewhere. Somewhere shitty, but somewhere nonetheless. You can get a copy of everything Marcus Aurelius ever said and a Harvard textbook on physics, 2 for $1. You don't even have to like anything but a good deal to make that purchase. And considering most of the folks who shop at Chickalukie's bookstore and their cultural appetites, I do not live in fear of anything I like ever being sold out. Normal human logic states that we experience time linearly. It doesn't go backwards, and it don't go side to side. As country musician Tracy Lawrence said, time marches on. Now, I might be talking out of my ass, so don't fact check me, but time is relative to speed. I think that means in some galaxies, theoretically, you could spend a month on one planet and it would be like 55 years back at home. You wouldn't have aged a day, but that puppy you bought the day before you flew out, unfortunately, will not greet you when you arrive home. This is also how time moves when you are overcome with the sudden feeling that shape-shifting aliens live among us, and one of them is your former father-in-law. Time was both standing still and rushing forwards and backwards at speeds I could not comprehend. I was standing up but could not feel my legs. I was holding a phone but could not feel my arm. My mouth was open but it had nothing to say, which really pissed my brain off because there was so much it wanted to. Found out quick that you do not need the fear of death for your entire life to flash before your eyes. I saw it all. My first t-ball game, the Challenger exploding, my little brother hiding behind the water heater, covered in my mother's blood from the time my dad lost a bet and split her forehead open with his class ring. I saw Sheila walking down the aisle wearing that strapless white dress and looking like she was so proud to know me. Perhaps the last time she ever gave me that look. I saw her daddy's pontoon boat on the first day he took me fishing. I tried jerking what was most likely an old used tire that somebody had thrown in the lake so hard reeling it in that the lure snapped loose and slingshotted toward us like David to our Goliath. It got hooked in Sheriff Stevens' hand. Blood was everywhere, but he just laughed because he was a tough man and because he loved his daughter, and his daughter loved me. He still has that scar, but it's no longer something I smile about. I'm going crazy is what it is. Every single man in my family, even on back before the Civil War, ended up as a crazy, tin-foil hat-wearing son of a bitch, and now my time has come. I mean, I ain't a flat earther or anything like my Uncle Gordon, but I had been hip to all that mass government surveillance way before the fucking Patriot Act. And we're talking way before 9/11. During this time, we didn't even have the internet. Well, regular folks didn't, at least. I'm sure the high rollers like Billy Ray Cyrus and Phil Donahue had them some internet. Shit, I bet Morton Downey Jr. was one of the first people to send a racist email. The closest thing we had to anything that connected us all on the go was Randall Daltrey's Motorola bag phone that I had just used to have the single strangest conversation on Earth. As far as conspiracy theories go, I certainly don't believe in them all. Hell, I'd say I don't believe in most, but any conspiracy where you can follow the money in a straight line to a potential motive, I'll at least entertain. Chemtrails don't make sense to me. And the flat earth shit is so fucking stupid, I'm forced to assume that the people who believe in it are all just performance artists pulling our leg. I mean, if the earth truly were flat, why would it behoove the government to hide that fact? You have to follow the money for something to make sense, but who's the one standing to lose money if the earth is flat? Big globe? I'm pretty sure people in the globe business have their portfolios quite diversified, thank you very much. Sorry if I seem like I'm sidetracking, but that's what it's like in my brain at all times, and that went double for what I was trying to comprehend at the moment. Hell, I'm shocked I've stayed on topic this long in the story. It's a lot to try to make sense of, and I've always been someone who gets to Scotland by way of China. Randall must have thought me crazy just standing there all slack-jawed staring into space, but processing this was like doing a goddamn decathlon in my head. I desperately wanted not to believe my first instinct. I was running through every possibility at light speed. I mean, hell, doppelgangers are a thing. Shit, I get mistaken for people all the time. Usually someone's dipshit cousin or their brother-in-law that ain't worth a damn. I got resting piece of shit face, I reckon. I always figured there are only so many shapes of heads and ears and whatnot that the good Lord made. You got your A models on down to Z or so. Everything in neat little slide-out boxes in whatever celestial warehouse they use to manufacture us. Every now and again, two people who ain't even related are fitted with enough similar parts from the stock, and, as can be expected, they favor one another. Simple as. All that is true, yet I wasn't having it. I just knew that wasn't the case here. That was Sheriff Stevens dead and stinking in that water, and I'd wager my life on it. Not that my life would be worth anything to a soul bookie if such a thing exists. Randall called my name once more. I looked up at him and made eye contact to show that, however reluctant I may be, I was ready to talk. "Something on your mind, sonny boy?" he said. I blinked for the first time in a few minutes because my eyes were dry from staring at the sun like a third grader. "Nope, not a thing," I replied. "I'm going to the meeting 3. You want anything?" Randall looked confused, and he had every reason to be. Though Big Jeff's Pork and Puddin', the restaurant is simply named the Pork and Puddin', but everyone adds the Big Jeff's because it's more fun to say and because, surprisingly, Big Jeff owns it, had been my favorite restaurant for years. It was also where Sheila worked. She'd worked there since she was 16, and even now that she's a teacher, she still works a few night shifts a week and the entirety of summer break, which we were in at the time. It's where I fell in love with her. It's where I tried rhubarb pie despite thinking I'd hate it, because the way she said rhubarb was poetry. It's where I'd eat every day for lunch, even when I didn't really have going out money. Because even if I could only afford a grilled cheese and a sweet tea, I at least knew I could catch a glimpse of her. Much like that old lady with Christ, I could be satisfied just touching the hem of her garment. I finally knew I had a shot with her when she slipped a banana pudding in a bag to me, free of charge. She told me to keep it on the down low by placing her finger over lips more beautiful than anything Hollywood has ever put out. I have never loved anyone else since, and I never will. So yes, it would be painful to go there since the separation, but I had to see. I had to see Sheriff Stevens, and if Sheila said she was with him, that meant he was at the Pork and Puddin'. And when cops are at the Pork and Puddin', they usually don't pay, so they don't leave the Pork and Puddin' unless there's an emergency, which Chickaluki ain't had in earnest in quite some time. Sonny boy, I don't know what's on your mind or what you were looking for here, but don't go running into pain that you don't have to. There's plenty coming up from behind and gaining ground on you anyway. I did something then that I hadn't done in a long time. I hugged Randall. I hugged him and squeezed him in a way that I hope said everything without saying anything. I had a very odd feeling that I might not get that opportunity again. Then I headed to the P&P. Sure enough, there sat Sheila and her dad. When he came in to eat, she went on break. She did not have to ask. It may have been Big Jeff's Pork and Puddin', but Sheila ran the show and everyone knew it. She could keep up with all her tables and whistle at all the girls like a field general to get them squared away without breaking concentration on her and her dad's conversation. She loved her daddy, and despite him being the fuzz, so did I. In light of recent events, I'm not so sure that the feeling is mutual, but I also don't think he hated me. He wasn't really capable of such. No one in her family was. It sank in on me even further just how much I had fucked my perfect life up. I walked up to the table, and while she kept a kind of face on in public, I could tell that she was annoyed to see me after that call. Now I was embarrassed. It was clearly not Sheriff Stevens in that water. My mind was playing tricks on me because I ain't fed it nothing but booze and drugs all week. That, combined with the inevitable decline of my mental faculties by birthright, I had finally snapped and would soon be confined to a padded room, let out once a day to eat tapioca and watch Matlock. Fuck my life, I thought. You've really done it this time, sonny boy. And then Sheriff Stevens stood up to greet me. He put out his hand for me to shake, and his mind trembled on its way up to meet his. I noticed. The fishing lure scar was gone. To be continued.